back.
We're good. Yeah, it's going.
Are we going?
Yeah. Okay. I haven't even thought of an intro, though. This is trouble.
That's all right. You just roll with it.
I mean, welcome.
Does Joe Rogan even have an intro? I think he just goes right in.
No, it just is like his animation.
Uh-huh. I think the conversation
this
just normally.
Is the intro right
yeah.
here.
Okay.
This has to be
I'll
the
quit
intro
talking
right
for the intro.
No, you're good. I mean, welcome to Next Step. We're starting this podcast to try to help people figure out their next step, no matter how big or how small. And if we can provide any experience or advice on helping you, that would be splendid.
Hell yeah.
Today we have Ethan. Without him, none of this would be possible. He's helping us set this all up and get us rolling. I mean, if you want to tell them a little bit about yourself, plug your show and anything.
Yeah, we had Logan on last week. Well, I don't know when you're planning on releasing this.
As soon as possible. Might
okay,
take
well
me
then,
a while, though.
Perfect. Yeah, we had Logan on, and we did the longest episode on our podcast show, the Ethan Clerc show. That was really fun. So, yeah, we do a weekly podcast show. We have all kinds of people on the podcast. We have doctors and police officers and paranormal investigators and psychics. And if you name it, we've had the person on probably, like that job or whatever. Mm-hmm. My background, though, is not in audio or anything like that. I'm a video guy, filmmaker. I run a production company in Mankato, Ethan Clerc Media, do commercials, promotional videos,
anything.
Yeah, music videos, done a bunch of different stuff. Went to film school in Chicago, dropped out because it was a waste of money.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We have to get to that.
Great living in Chicago, but Columbia is just a huge waste of money. You don't need to go to film school. We talked about that, I think, on the podcast. Yeah. You don't have to go to college to hold a camera. Like, anybody can do that.
For sure.
So, yeah, now I'm living in Mankato with my brother and our roommate, Matt, and we pretty much just mess around and make videos and podcasts, and we're living life. We're young. Mm-hmm. I'm a big proponent of these are the best time, not the best times of your life, but the best time in your life to, like, explore, get out there, try different things. I have a lot of friends that are getting married or having kids, and I can't relate to that at all.
I mean, how old are you?
I'm 23, just turned 23.
I'm 21. Summer, you want to introduce yourself while you're at it, too? You haven't.
No, we forgot to introduce Summer. Come on now.
On to you.
I'm just here. I'm Summer, Logan's boyfriend.
Logan's boyfriend?
It is 2020.
She's nervous.
2020.
She's nervous.
Hold it back.
I am nervous. Logan's girlfriend. What else do you want to know?
What do you go to school for? Where are you from?
I'm from
When did you come
Lakes,
out of the closet?
We got a boyfriend.
Lina Lakes, Minnesota. I'm going to MNSU, graduating this December with a marketing degree that I won't use.
Well,
I mean, we can get right into education, honestly.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that, but
yeah, I mean,
education's always
just
good.
education as a whole and what your direction is. I guess I didn't really get your direction on what you'd like to see on your podcast. I kind of just gave my direction. So I guess what are your thoughts overall from, grade school on, post-secondary as well? Like, how would you like to see it change, or what are your observations on the topic I guess?
Yeah.
Just overall as a whole.
We did an entire podcast episode where we went into, like, the history of the American education system, like John D. Rockefeller way back in the beginning.
Oof.
And I don't know how familiar you are with it.
I mean, a little bit. It's supposed to be like a factory system, correct?
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. It's kind of, we are meant to be taught to work and not get to a certain level, and because they don't want people to be too smart or make too much money, because it's kind of a whole control thing. Yeah. And I don't know how much of this is true today, but this is in the beginning. John D. Rockefeller invested a lot of money to create the American education system. And like I said, I'm not sure how much of that still is going around, but when you're in school, you definitely feel like you're getting pumped through. Like, you're being told things. And
if you just look at it, it's like the same exact system. So it is going on today. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it hasn't changed much.
Yeah. Well, obviously, technology and everything comes into play, too. That wasn't back in 1900 when it was formed. Yep. But the same principles of, like, here's what you're learning. And is anyone, like, fact checking or, like, going back? Because we're taught this stuff when we're younger. Is like, how much of this is actually right? Because I know that a lot of things have had to be corrected and a lot of things have had to change. But it kind of all comes back down to me as, like, all the things we learn in school, how much of these are we actually using in our everyday lives? Like, we talked about that, like, in the
biology.
Podcast. Biology.
Nothing to knock biology majors.
Calculus, like...
anything at a high level.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're trying to get at.
Yeah,
anything at a super high level that you aren't interested in specifically, like, you should definitely be taught the basics of everything to be, like, more well-rounded, but it just gets out of hand at some point. Like, where's the law of diminishing returns, like economics for sure.
Uh-huh.
Like that can be applied to education. Like
Yep.
you take the same history class probably 10 times over by the time you're done.
Oh, 100%, yeah. And I had a conversation with a teacher about it one time, and I asked them, why do we learn all these different things? And because they said they want you to have a general knowledge of a bunch of different things, which I understand that. But then when you get into high school, you're not taking a general knowledge. You're diving in deep into like these very specific like Native American history and like all these, like nothing wrong with that if you want to get into it. But why aren't we teaching how to do your taxes? Why aren't we teaching how to buy a house
for credit cards?
Yeah, how to get credit
we got
cards.
real into that a little bit.
You know what I mean, though? How come we're not teaching kids what you do when you get out of high school? We're pretty much just telling them if you don't take 2 Spanish classes, you're not going to get into a college.
Oh my God, right? I had to struggle my way through that. That was actually like my worst subject.
Yeah.
So tough. It seriously was my worst grade in high school.
100%. I don't remember any of it. But they told us that if you don't take these Spanish classes, that you will not get into college because most colleges recommend or require that, which I found out not to be that true, actually, when you look into it. So my biggest thing is teaching people useful skills in life is where I want the education system to go. I don't think we're there. I don't even think we're close. I think right now it's a factory farm system. Pump kids through, get as many as you can through, and try to get them all on an equal level. You know, that's why they do like the MCA testing or whatever.
Standardized testing.
Standardized testing, yeah, definitely a big issue because everyone's different. Everyone learns different.
We kind of talked about learning different on the podcast with him about the analogy of I take Adderall for ADHD. They don't give me heart medicine for ADHD. So why are they teaching every single kid forcing them, for one, to learn the exact same subject and the exact same material, not what they're interested in on the subject, correct? And they're forcing them to take it at the same pace and take it at the same grade level. And they're just pushing kids through by age, which really means nothing because there's kids that are probably 10 years old that are smarter than me when it comes to some school topics. And then there's kids that are, 25, 30 that are just not even near, probably couldn't even pass 6th grade. And that's kind of like the whole issue I have with it is they're grouping kids and forcing them to learn topics that they don't care about. School has a purpose and definitely needs to be a part of our society, especially when you talk about higher education for some specific occupations. But at a lower age, we need to let kids learn what they're actually interested in and maybe force them to take a history class. But, hey, you can study whatever you want throughout history. Like maybe one kid likes World War II. Maybe one kid, likes the American Revolution. Like you study what you want to within American history or world history, so you're actually interested and put time in and not just cheat to get through, because we talked about cheating too, but like you almost can't even blame the kids at this point. It's so accessible and they're taught that they're only worth whatever grade they get, so why wouldn't I want to cheat to get to that grade? It's not about how much we learn.
I 100%. I get that. But I like that idea, actually, that you have to take a history class, but you can pick where you want to go with that, what direction you go with that. I think that's a really good idea. How they would do that, though, might be challenging. But now with technology, it wouldn't be that hard because anybody can, a lot of these schools have iPads or Chromebooks or whatever. So they can go on and they can follow a thing and, maybe try to get rid of the testing and more do it on like presentation or – because you use that a lot more. Those
skills are much more.
Way more
I mean, we talked about
useful.
Just getting a job, correct? And then how people are struggling to get jobs because they don't have anything on their resume, or they spell something wrong in their resume, or their resume looks like crap because the school teaches you to make it look like crap. We talked about that, just like the skills, like from an outside standpoint, that I'm sure you would hire or I would hire as any bit of help for in our business would be somebody that can actually talk and hold a conversation with you.
100%.
Be honest, not be scared. Be not afraid to speak up. I mean, if you need a day off, you can take a day off, but be honest with me what it's for and let's personal reasons. But just like teaching them the skills to be able to cope with things like that, I think are more important than, I'm not going to ask you who was the 10th president, even the United States, and that matters. You know what I mean? Like that's just U.S. history. Think about how much they're making us learn about the world, And then we got into the topic of, I mean, if you actually go out and travel and do things and leave your small town, you might learn some world history, also some U.S. history. You know what I mean? Rather learn by experience than being forced to read it out of a book that you don't even know if it's true or not.
It's tough with the budget limits that schools have and everything. We're kind of like making it impossible.
Constrained.
It is. Yeah, it's definitely constrained, especially if you go in lower income areas. They're really put in a horrible
Yeah,
position.
that's another problem.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know how you budget that differently or what we do differently
above
for
our pay
that.
grade.
It is. And we talked about that too, how we, that's a U.S. government
Yeah.
thing, and we're never going to be able to change that. We can only talk about it and encourage
But at
other
least
people.
we're talking about it.
Yeah.
And that's where we got into
Yeah.
the gang thing, honestly, is at least we're talking about issues that do matter no matter right or left.
Yep.
At least we're talking about the issues that the youth is seeing today like we see it in our own eyes. Maybe 20 years ago people didn't think like that, but it's tough to think like that, right? That we should just put our head down, go through, and then work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And that's for some people. We talked about that too. Some people like that structure. Some people need to be in that structure for our economy to go. But there's a lot of people that feel stuck. And that's this is great because this is wrapping us all into like what we're trying to do with this podcast is there's a lot of people that have a lot of talent that don't even know what that talent is because they're not taught to discover that or that it's going to be a viable option to pay your bills.
Yeah.
But it's just such a major topic, education and the way that they're pushing us. And hopefully we'll find a way out. But I remember on your show you said that you don't think it'll change in our lifetime. Why is that?
I don't think in our lifetime we're going to see much of a change. As long as we keep electing these politicians, like these regular politicians that we've seen our whole lifetime. Joe Biden, somebody who's been in office for 47 years. How come we can't find a younger somebody that more innovative, just more life to them,
right?
More life is the
something.
Yeah. So I don't think in our lifetime, and we talked a lot about the 2-party system. I don't think in our lifetime that'll change.
Yeah.
I want to believe it will, but part of me just feels like it's going to be the same thing for a long time because you still have our parents, which were that's how they were raised. They're used to that.
And they push that onto us.
Exactly.
We talk about that a lot about the family, nature versus nurture. We talked about that a little bit on your show, but
it's too
family
bad though.
Definitely.
Yep.
It's too bad that change can't happen. I think it's just we all get into this pattern where and this year's been completely different. The past 4 years with Trump and everything. People have really gotten into politics now. People didn't really care before. So a lot of people talk about negatives with Trump, but I think he's brought more people into the conversation than ever before. We talked about the people that came out to vote.
That's a very big positive. No matter what side, it's a very big positive.
Yep. So I'm seeing things that do change and happen, but now that we're going back to a regular party politician, I think we're gonna have 4 more years of pretty basic, bland things happening.
For sure.
The economy will, be good. It'll be fine. Everyone will be fine. Everyone will make money. But is there going to be positive change? Probably not.
Yeah.
Just like I think Obama was a really good president, but he's not that like a big change guy. Not that much happened during Obama. Everyone was comfortable. Everyone was fine during Obama. We all were happy. He was a great speaker, really respectful guy. You could look up to him. But it was just a very 8 years of pretty much nothing changing, which is fine for some people.
Yep.
People like complacity, but I want to see change. I want things to happen.
That's why I like Yang.
Yeah.
I mean, he talks about issues.
And see, I never got into Yang. I never looked up what he really said because I didn't really think he had a chance.
Everything we're talking about.
Yeah.
Which most presidents or most candidates don't.
No.
Most candidates won't even put things like mental health in their mouth because it's a controversial topic, but if nobody ever talks about it, how are we ever going to fix anything?
Yeah. Well, and they picked, whether people believe it or not,
we got that.
Happened in 2016, happened in 2020. They picked Hillary, they picked Biden. They knew who they wanted.
Yep.
Didn't matter who else was out there. You could have the best person ever who was going to beat Trump by 10 million, 20 million votes. They don't care. They want Biden. That's just how things are.
The same people.
Exactly. Yeah. The people that they grew up with or the people that they were in office with for however many years. Just, I don't know. There's a lot of corruption.
For sure.
There's a ton of corruption.
Yeah.
What do you do to fix it? I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Well,
above our pay grade.
Yeah. Maybe next topic because we get into politics and we won't look up for probably an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll get banned.
Yeah. We can't say
the word.
The thing that's unspeakable.
Can we say it backwards?
I guess.
How do you even do that?
Yeah, you go.
Divic? It'd be Divic.
Divic.
Or what? No, it'd be Divock.
They're probably smart enough to figure that out. I don't even know.
We're flagged already.
Yeah, we're done.
Cut the podcast.
We already said Biden.
I didn't know about that, though, until you told me.
No, I mean, I have a friend that does some YouTube and stuff, and he said Graham Stephan actually made a video. I don't know if you know who he is. He's an investor guy, but he made a video that was saying, like, they'll flag your stuff. And when I posted it on Facebook, the link, it gave me, like, a disclaimer or something about
Like
you know,
one of them things.
Yeah, and I had to
Word.
like okay it and then
Uh-huh.
post it. Then I'm like, why is nobody seeing this? Like normally, like I mean, it's not about the likes or anything like that. But I'm just like, why is nobody seeing this? This is weird.
That is weird.
And then somebody swiped up and was like, dude, you said the word. You're done, man.
They're probably trying to. I don't agree with it, but they're probably trying to like. Keep people quiet who aren't like factual.
Yep.
Whatever happened to freedom of speech?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was
we're
just
gonna get into that again.
Yeah,
We're staying on politics.
we don't have to.
I mean, we can quick.
I just think that's ridiculous.
We talked about censorship.
Yeah, that's a big topic right now. Every tweet, that has anything to do with the election or the word, will get flagged. And I love that people are like trolling that. Like a lot of people are doing their own tweets with that. They figured out how to do it. I don't agree with it at all. I don't think Twitter or Facebook has the right to tell people, you agree to their terms of service or whatever, but now we're getting into the thing like people have a right to have their opinion on the word or the election.
Yep.
I'm actually in a social media class right now, and like Facebook and Twitter are actual like private property of the owners. So they can set like their own rules and you have to follow it. So when people think of social media like Facebook, you're like, oh, I have freedom of speech. But really when you're signing that contract, you're like stepping on their land and you have to follow their rules.
I mean, it's smart of them because of course they want to use their platform to influence whatever side they believe in.
Yep.
But it comes to a point where is it a utility and should everybody have that right because it's such a big thing and it can, that might.
Yeah. And that's why they're going in front of Congress.
Yeah,
because,
we saw that 4 hours long.
It was crazy. The argument was that Twitter and Facebook have become kind of like a, what did they call it? Town hall or like a city, like a main area where people could come and talk.
Yep.
And so they've outgrown the like we're just a whatever platform.
Yeah, small.
They've grown to like the level where they can influence
everything
who you vote for.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they have to take on responsibility for that, and that's why they're going in front of Congress and they were testifying, and they got asked some difficult questions, and you can clearly tell they weren't ready for that.
Yeah.
And I think online world is so much different than in life real world. Like things are so much easier said online or to say online than it is in person. So I think that's a whole nother topic of obviously things that like people that are like illegal in person or like illegal in person and said online should obviously be banned. But there's a certain line where it's like bullying online. Should that be shadowed and like should those kind of comments be deleted or should they be left and said free speech?
What's going on in the bullying? Are they threatening them? Because I think you should be able to trash talk somebody online.
Yeah, 100%.
But if you talk about showing up at their house or you're doxing somebody,
it's
then
too much. But we talked about this too. There's some things that should for sure be shadow banned that you shouldn't be able to see that should be flagged right away.
But yeah, like I said, like obviously illegal things that are illegal in person should be. But I feel like there's a certain line where maybe things should be taken down.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that. So your opinion is definitely more conservative with the freedom of speech. And there's no problem with that. At least you have an opinion and you'll have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
That's the whole issue as well.
I think anybody should be able to say anything.
I think I'm probably more in the middle with, I don't have a problem with them flagging some tweets if they aren't factual and they can't back it up no matter right or left, but they need to do it both ways because it is such a big platform, like we talked about how you can influence people, and people are stupid, so people will believe anything that they see from their favorite politician, no matter
especially
right or left.
If someone's in the light.
So that's what I'm trying to say is, I don't have a problem with them putting a little mark below it that says, "Please beware, this isn't fact checked. Please make your decision, more educated, look up, because a lot of people see anything and they just go right to it like, hey, that's for sure true. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell my friend, I'm going to tell my buddy. Then it's spreading like wildfire because I believed it because it's from my favorite politician. Yeah. But instead, I don't think it'll fix or solve the problem at all, but I have no problem with them flagging tweets that are pretty questionable both ways. Just don't take it down. Yeah. And don't block it and you have to click on it to see it. It should just be flagged that says, hey, nobody can fact check this. This could be 50-50. Like, please make your own educated decision. Because it's the problem is a lot of America is followers rather than leaders. So a lot of people will just, if I like you and you're a politician, the first crazy thing you say, I'm going to believe. Like, and I'm going to argue to the death with somebody about that.
Yeah.
And that's part of our problem, definitely, is people just won't go Google it, look 10 different places and be like, oh, shit.
No.
Both sides, that's taken out of context.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of my favorite quotes, I don't know who said it, but one of my favorite quotes is, the best way to defeat bad or wrong speech is not deleting it. It's better speech and a lot more of it.
Yeah.
So that's why my big thing is, don't take it down. Leave it up and let people who know what they're talking about debate them and come on and say what the actual thing is and talk a lot more of it. And that'll put the other person down and hopefully people won't believe them. But like you said, there's a lot of sheep in this country that they don't look up anything. They don't care. They read the Snapchat news articles that obviously are clickbait, and then they don't do any more of their own research. So, I'm gonna knock that over. I wish everyone could be as educated as other people.
Yeah.
It's sad, but in the end of the day, that's how we are in this country. We're lazy. Not everybody, but a lot of people. Majority of people. Yeah. Majority of people. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, we can talk about being lazy and tying it into the next step and helping people with their next step, and just kind of touch quickly before we go into travel maybe about jobs and people being lazy about getting jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Or starting their own thing, right?
100%, yeah.
We talked about this a little bit on your podcast, but about how Americans are so lazy and they'll be like, hey, I can't get a job because they applied for 3 weeks ago. Forgot to check some boxes. Yep. And it's like,
Didn't
I mean, realistically, I mean, this is America.
Yeah.
We love our country. We think it's great. Maybe you should get out and try to talk to some people. Go to 10 stores that you want to work at and talk to some people. You'll get a job. Like, you'll get a job.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's nuts how, and this brings it all the way back to the education system and them not teaching us how to conversate and be comfortable conversating. Like, they make you do a speech on Shakespeare, some crap, reciting a poem, right?
Yeah, something.
And it's like everybody's so scared of that too. Everybody's so scared of public speaking in high school and middle school.
Yeah.
Like
Still scared.
Yeah, I know. That's okay.
I'm scared right now.
Like
podcast helps with that.
Yeah,
trust
it
me.
does. But like 80% of America is so scared to do that. But that's probably one of the biggest and you don't need to be able to talk in front of hundreds of people, but just being comfortable on a level of like, hey, maybe you're a CEO of a company. Hey, maybe you're a great artist. Hey, maybe you're a great dancer. Try to get every realm in this.
Yeah.
And then, hey, I've been looking up to you for 2 years. I'm scared if I ever meet you. Like, instead of just being like, hey, like, try to pick your brain on some questions and be comfortable in that situation.
Yep.
Because we don't teach how to be comfortable in situations that would get you a job. Like, I have no problem with however you answer the stupid interview questions that everybody asks. As long as you're 100% confident with me and are open to debate, open to tell me what's going on, you know what I mean? Like, in my company, in Lakeshore Potential, like, if somebody wants to go home or if somebody doesn't want to work or if somebody has an issue, like, just tell me and I don't care. Like, we'll figure it out. If you're going to be honest with me enough to have enough, I don't know what I want to say.
Balls?
Yeah.
Do I got to say it, Logan?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have enough balls to tell me and be confident in that conversation, I'm going to respect you a lot more, and you'll be the one to get promoted before the person that checks the I's and dots the T, or dots the I's and checks the T's, I think. I don't know.
Something like that. Something like
whatever.
I dropped out of college. You're talking to the wrong guy.
Yeah, me too.
Where I see you're going with the conversation is, though, we talk about this all the time on the podcast, whether it's with teachers or whoever we've had on. We had a psychologist on. I tried having the conversation with her, too, about the younger generation, younger than us, because we're young, but I'm talking grew up, post 9/11.
Yep.
They're having a really tough time having face-to-face conversations with people and, like, actual interactions where you get things from talking to people. That's a hard
you get things done.
Yeah, it's a hard thing for them to grasp for some reason. Like, they don't feel a reason to talk to people when they can go on their phone and go on Twitter, go on whatever,
and see the content that's fed right to them that they like.
Exactly. Yeah.
I feel like what's happening right now probably isn't helping them.
No,
definitely
at all.
No. I mean, with everything going on, and then you add on top of that, and
you said it.
Oh man, buddy.
You could go back and edit that part out.
You might have to.
What time is it at here on here? Okay, 24. Okay, somewhere around there. My bad.
Switch back.
Isn't it weird how we've gotten,
I was trying to strategically plan and not say it.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's another thing too, how crazy it's gotten, where no matter what we're talking about, that thing gets brought up. I was just having that conversation with someone today. Like, no matter who I'm talking to, Could be my parents, my grandparents, anybody.
It's
like it gets brought up, and I'm really tired of it. Like it's so annoying. It
impacts so many people in so many ways.
Yeah.
But if you look at it in a positive light, the only thing I could say that this thing would help with conversations is a lot of people are put in front of a camera on Zoom. And yes, this is not in person, but that takes a lot of, balls too to sit in front of the camera and just look at the camera, right? Yeah. And you're just talking to the one person, or you're spotlighted in class when you're talking, your screen pops up. Yeah. So, I mean, that could help a little bit, because I mean, it's not the same thing, definitely, but in class, a lot of people can hide and never say a word, right? Like you sit in the back of the classroom, you never talk to anybody, but this gets everybody involved, like especially the people that are really scared of it. They're going to have to say something if they want to talk, and they're going to be spotlighted. So that can help maybe with a little bit of comfort. That's trying to look at it from the bright side. Obviously, it's killing a lot of face-to-face.
I was going to say, most people turn their cameras, their mics off.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Well, some teachers make you turn it on, some don't.
And I don't know, now that I'm not going to college, I don't know how they're doing that or anything. Like, I don't know what the process is with that, but I know that I wouldn't be able to do it. Like, I'm a visual, like, in person, like, I need to be part of it, whatever. So doing it on a laptop or whatever is, I'm not paying for that. I already dropped out of college because it was a waste of time. But if I was on a laptop doing video calls, like, I'm not paying $40,000 a year for that. Like,
you got crazy. YouTube, LinkedIn Learning,
and
Fiverr,
learn so much.
TikTok.
You can,
TikTok. Honestly,
you can learn on anything. You can learn how to do anything nowadays with the internet.
Yeah, and I mean, we're bringing this all back to what we talked about on yours. But honestly, if you use social media for a good reason, it can be very, very positive.
Oh, for sure.
Like, just to mention an idea that I didn't mention on your show, the Twitter and investing. For me, I don't know how to invest. I shouldn't even be talking about it. If this was, like, if I were being honest, you know what I mean? Like, I know the basics and I know a little bit, but the Twitter guys help you out amazing. You know what I mean? They make so many people money. Oh, yeah, they call exactly what to buy, when to sell it.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. Like, what they're doing for free, too. Like, absolutely, those guys are amazing. But like, that's just a positive light on social media. About maybe I'm on it too much and you're always yelling at me for being on my phone. But if you use it for the right reasons, like, it can make you money, it can make you connections, it can get you a job, it can get you in front of people that you never thought you'd meet. Like, there's a positive to social media, but just many people don't see the positive or see how to use it positively. So maybe that's a class to have, is how to manage social media time and how to manage, reaching out. Even. Like, that should be a class. How to reach out to somebody on LinkedIn. That should be a class, instead of how to send in this blank, terrible resume.
How to write a 3-page paper and cite it APA.
Yeah, God, it's the most unuseful.
Don't you guys use that every day?
Oh my
Don't you
God,
use that at
so
work?
Much,
no, APAs, MLA, whatever. No one. Oh my. We wasted a lot of time.
What's pretty crazy is, actually, on the topic of video games and social media and using them bad, is we just got a Wii.
Oh, really?
It's sweet.
You know that came out a long time ago.
Yeah, dude. No, I used to play it a little bit, but he just brought it back, and it's funny because it says something on there after you play it for like a half hour. It says, put the remote down and go outside.
No way.
Yes,
really?
It does. And that's probably why they went out of business. But
is that a new feature? I don't remember that when we were kids.
I'm pretty sure that was, I remember, like, the window. It's pretty cool. I have to show you it. But yeah, it'll say, like, after you play like a round of golf, because that's why we got it, to play golf during this quarantine. It's kind of fun, but don't use it for more than an hour. It's just a fun hobby. But it says, put it down and go outside. It says that. Like, it'll say, hey, yeah, I swear, I'll show you guys.
That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
I do not remember that feature when we were younger. So
it's nuts.
They definitely added that in after.
We needs to come back if they're going to push that message, because everybody else is trying to keep them on the platform. Like, that's great.
I'm surprised no other company has came out with, like, a physical activity game thing. I know they're doing a lot of VR, but
yeah,
is we the only one?
I think
so.
The only one I know of.
PlayStation and Xbox. This is probably why we went out of business. Is they introduced right after Wii became popular, and they dropped that, like, a PlayStation Move and then an Xbox Move or something like that. So that just absolutely killed Wii, because everybody already had the PlayStations and the Xboxes, and they just had to buy $100 attachment to. But I don't know if it was ever as good. I never got into that. We had a Wii, so that
everybody had a Wii when they came out.
Oh my God,
because it was groundbreaking.
Yeah, they're great.
It was unbelievable, and I do remember that. Now that you're talking about the PlayStation, Xbox, I do remember that, but no one ever talked about.
No one ever really played that. I mean, it's just interesting because when me and Thomas play golf, we're up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. I'm like, oh man, this is kind of a workout. I mean, especially if you're not like a physical person or don't work out, Like, even for me, I was like, man, I'm getting tired. I'm up, down, up, down, up,
Sweating a
down,
little
moving
bit.
around, swinging. Like, not a bad idea.
They need more. They need. I'm like, can't believe there's nothing like really groundbreaking. You know, with the new PS5 and the new Xbox or whatever. It's like pretty much the same thing as the PS4.
It's the same thing. It just keeps coming out.
Better graphics, bigger memory. Like, when the holographic stuff comes out, let me know. Then I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not trying to buy the same thing over and over.
Just to make money.
Yeah.
We can move to travel if you want.
Oh.
I want you to talk about some of your experiences, maybe like one or two crazy ones.
Oh yeah, I could talk about that forever.
Yeah, I mean, he does. You do urban travel, correct?
Yep.
And like exploring abandoned buildings and stuff. And we do kind of more camping and more national parks. So we can kind of both, feed off each other
Blend
and hit everybody.
We've done a little bit of the like national park, like I was talking to you about Zion and stuff like that. Yeah, really cool. We started off though doing like abandoned buildings, skyscrapers, like subway tunnels, like illegal things we shouldn't be doing.
Cool, though.
Yeah, and we've definitely had our fair run-in with the police before. I have tons of stories of being held at gunpoint and all kinds of crazy stuff. But I don't even know how we got into it. Weird, like there was an abandoned school in Iowa and we just went down there one time, and after that we like fell in love. Like, this is sweet. No one's here to tell you what to do. You can do whatever you want. Like, you get to go in the inner workings, like abandoned hospitals. Like, you never get to see any of these off-limit rooms and stuff, but now you can because we're there, the only people there.
It's a cool perspective.
Yeah.
Cool.
So when I went to Chicago, it was like a whole nother level of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because in Minnesota, there's a couple things, a lot more underground tunnels and stuff. But in Chicago, we had full-on abandoned skyscrapers, abandoned hospitals, abandoned schools, abandoned funeral homes with, like, stuff left behind.
That's
like
nuts.
Ashes and stuff, like messed up stuff that people forget about and they move on. And it's a lesson on like human development. Like, we move on and we take really bad care of old stuff. We'd rather build new than tear it down, or we'd rather build new than like renovate it. There's so many like abandoned buildings in Chicago. They don't care about them. They'll just build a brand new building downtown.
Oh my gosh.
So it's one of those things where you get like a lesson in human, like how we've done things.
American history, world history, because it's the way we evolve.
Yeah.
Experience.
I don't know which specific stories you want me to go into, because I could go into all kinds of different things.
Just give me one or two cool ones. Anything, because I don't know. I also don't know myself.
Mm-hmm. So oh gosh, we've just done so many. It's like you got to ask me like a specific thing, like
favorite place in the Midwest.
In the Midwest, okay.
Specific place.
That's tough. There used
There's
to
a
be.
couple.
Yeah, there is, but the abandoned, now they tore it down actually, so it's not there anymore. But the Pontiac Silverdome, which is in Pontiac, Michigan, where the Detroit Lions used to play, that was abandoned, and we got in there right before they tore it down. And an abandoned NFL stadium is just crazy to be in.
Cool.
You can go anywhere you want. The press box, the restaurants, all the underground, the tunnels, the locker room. Places that anybody that loves the NFL would love to go check out when no one's there.
Yeah.
And
American history.
It literally is. And so we got in there and just got to see the whole thing, and then got out, never got caught, even though like security's going around the whole thing.
Dang.
You just time it right. They're on the other side, and you run across a big parking lot, get in, and then they're coming around. They don't know you're in there.
Yeah.
They don't need to go in. They don't care. So, I mean, that was really cool. But there's not a lot around here. You have to go down, like, New Orleans area or out to, like, New York. There's a ton of crazy stuff out there. But the Midwest is more low-key. It's a lot of abandoned malls. It's a lot of abandoned schools. It's a lot of abandoned... it was all the things that... and especially if you go to Detroit, because it used to be a booming city, like the automotive industry. And then everyone left, and so there's a bunch of abandoned schools.
Oh, my gosh.
Just a bunch of abandoned train stations, abandoned stuff that people don't need anymore, because the city really had to shrink when their population fell by, like, I think 50% of the population left.
That's nuts.
So, yeah, we've been all over the place. We've done a ton of crazy stuff.
Have you ever done anything outside of the country or just the U.S.?
I've traveled, but I never have done any exploring out of the country. I'd love to, though.
That'd be really cool.
Just have to know what the laws are, because I don't want to go to a country
and
they
get
can
locked up forever.
Exactly. I know some countries, if you break the law there, they can like put you in jail forever. And then other countries like in the United Kingdom, you can go do whatever you want, and they'll pretty much just say no, don't. Like, you climb a crane, and they'll catch you, and they'll be like, get out of here. Where if you do that in the United States, you're going to jail. So, I have to look up the laws when we go. But I've been to other countries before, but this is before I got into exploring like abandoned places.
Yep.
How do you guys? No, I'm asking questions.
Yeah, no,
I'm
for
just,
sure. That's
I'm just
fine.
wondering,
Back and forth.
or have you guys ever? Because you were talking about national parks and stuff like that. Have you ever wanted to go check out when you're there in these places, like anything in the cities, or like have you ever found yourself running into like abandoned buildings and been like, I want to check that out?
No, I mean.
No, but after looking at your page, I was like, Logan, we gotta get into this.
That's what I said. We gotta go on a trip together.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
No, I mean, I grew up in national parks. I think I got into this a little bit with my mom and my dad and my family, mostly national parks and mostly camping and mostly outdoor stuff. But I'd definitely be into this abandoned stuff. It's like, I don't know, you must need to know where it is at, or we just don't see it right in front of our faces. Is there like a website for that you could plug or like help people out with, or is it just about who you know?
It's the golden question right there. Everyone who tries to get into urban exploring is like, where do you find the locations? I'm like, it's a combination of knowing people, going out and looking, because if you drive around the bad part of town in any big city, Detroit, Cleveland, New York, you're going to find a lot of abandoned things.
Oh, yeah.
You just got to have the balls to get out of the car and go check it out.
Yeah.
And we've never had the only issues we've had is with police. We've never had anybody shoot at us or come up to us with a gun or try to rob us. When you're doing it, the only thing you got to worry about is the police getting caught or the owner.
Yeah.
Where people might think, I don't want to get shot. People don't care in those areas.
Yeah.
A bunch of white kids are coming in. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Like they're worried about gang activity.
Yeah.
We're
they
not
probably
the threat.
like it. They're like, "What's up, guys? Somebody new here."
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing I tell people when they're gonna do it is mind your own business. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't make eye contact, if you're not worried about what anybody else is doing, they're not gonna worry about you. And that's coming from a guy that lived in Chicago and went to the bad neighborhoods all the time. We never had one issue. We heard gunshots all the time. No one was ever shooting at us.
I feel like that's kind of like pushed on you as well. Like,
and it adds to the thrill.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
Ooh,
sure.
what's
What do you mean
around
by
the
push
corner?
Like,
to you though?
Pushed on you like when you're young and going through school and media that, oh my God, any of these places are terrible. You can't go there.
Yep.
But hey, maybe just get out and do
It's kinda
something
like
yourself
when we were
and experience
when
it.
we were going to Oregon, and what's the big city there?
Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And everyone was
Portland.
like, "Oh my gosh, Portland is on fire!
Oh,
Don't
the
go
protests,
anywhere near
right?
there."
We went right
Oh,
through
really?
Seattle, Portland, and where else? Where did we stay? Right in the middle of it. Olympia.
Oh,
And
really?
there was-
Washington,
yeah.
which is like, isn't that the capital?
Probably, but
I don't know.
I don't remember from school.
I'm pretty sure it was the capital.
But yeah, we stayed in there like
Uh-huh.
right during the middle of it in like June, I think, or July, and everybody was like, all of our families and just friends are like, "Hey, don't go anywhere near that state. Oh my God, it's terrible.
Don't
like
go
you'll die."
in Portland, whatever you do.
We drove right through there,
Right
perfectly
through it.
fine. As
Really?
long as you're not being an idiot, you'll be fine.
Uh-huh.
And that brings it full circle to why America's having troubles is you create a narrative before you see it for yourself. And that's what
100%,
a lot
yeah.
of things stem from too. I feel like just a lot of conflict in general is I think I know better than you, but hey, maybe you should just listen, take in everybody's opinion, then make an
Or go check it out for
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too. But it's just ridiculous how many ideas and concepts that people get in their head that they think are 100% true.
Yeah.
Never have done any research, never have experienced it themselves. And they just hear about it on the news. They just hear about it through Facebook. And then it's like you're hearing whatever narrative you want to hear and
Yeah.
whatever, so if you think it's burning down and you hate those people, they're just going to push you stories that say it's burning down.
Yeah.
We drove right through there, nothing, no problems. They're not just going to pull us out of our car, beat the shit out of us.
They might. I mean, I saw some videos of like Uber.
You saw some videos.
I did.
Yeah.
But
Did you go check it out for
I did.
yourself?
That is a good point. That stuff going out there, though, like Chop or
does,
whatever, Chaz,
yeah.
like that was getting kind of out of hand.
Yeah.
Just from hearing about it and watching like live streamers on Facebook because that became a huge
That's
thing.
probably one of the best places to get your news.
Yep, because there's no talking. It's
Live
just-
stream YouTube, live stream
Here's
Facebook.
what's going on.
Yeah, you can actually see what the heck is going on.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
bad
But
idea.
you don't know the background information most of the time. You just
Yeah.
see.
Very true.
Well, what we do know about that, because that to me was very interesting, how the city just backed away and said you can have the 6 blocks or whatever, do whatever you want,
Yep.
and then it became like a complete shit show. I can't believe I probably wouldn't even have gone there just because of all the things I saw. Yeah, well, I mean,
that's-
I just saw some unbelievable videos of people getting ripped out of their cars and beat, and
Yeah.
a lot of those people were probably
Saying
doing stuff.
Saying-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that they're wearing something that the other person didn't like, whatever
Yeah.
that might be.
See, yeah, and I mean that you're gonna get that, but if you just put your head down and mind your own business, you're not gonna get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we were in Minneapolis when they were rioting. We were there one night, and we were with a big group of people, and I'm not trying to piss anybody off, but these were some of the dumbest people that I've ever met in my entire life.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 100%. I'm like, we're all walking with them, and helicopters above, and they're shining a spotlight. Everyone's like, get underneath the tree, get underneath the tree. I'm like, guys, you realize they have like thermal cameras, like they can find body heat. Yeah. Oh, they have thermal. I'm like, what are you gonna do now? Like, what's the plan? And me and my friend Bauman were like leading a group of like 30 people. I'm like, we're not even here to do anything. We're just taking videos. And we're about to leave, and they're all like, where are you guys going? I'm like, we're going home. It's 3 a.m.
That's a terrible representation of like the actual issue at hand too.
Oh, 100%.
Like, and that's in anything right or left or black or white or anything, is like the people you see on the news doing the crap, like that's not the representation of the masses. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not the actual message behind what's going on in any situation. Like, you're only going to get the worst of the worst. And then it's like half of that crap was black and white people, not just black people, and then they wouldn't show you the white people doing it. Like, it's just anybody trying to have a reason to go out there and throw shit, which is like probably half of America, which thinks the system has screwed them, and they're like, hey, let's go get some shit back.
And if you think about the older generations, like I think about my grandma and grandpa, the only information that they learned from all of that was from the news. So of course they're gonna think, oh my gosh, they're just rioting, they're out of control, but they don't actually see what we're seeing from our friends and peers our age, because we know the actual backstory behind what's going on.
Yeah. And it started, I mean, if you look at it, we went to a couple different ones. We were in one in North Carolina, the Minneapolis one. We were one other place. I don't remember where we were when they were doing it. It starts off like, honestly, great people protesting. We talked to many of them.
Sitting down.
And then late at night, late at night, people that weren't a part of that come down there, and they jeopardize. We talked heavily about this with Jaron about everything.
Yep.
You have people that come in and they use everybody, and they like put themselves in the group, start breaking stuff. And then everyone that was peacefully protesting gets blamed for it when they had no intentions to do any of that.
I think that comes back to like the human nature of like, if you think, we talked about this about people piling on people on social media if somebody does something wrong, right? So people right there, like that's probably just human nature of dumb people is, hey, like this is my chance to get back at somebody or something or the United States or the establishment or anything that they feel like they've been wronged by, and this is their chance, right?
Yeah.
They can be in the middle of good people and do shit and get away with it.
Yeah.
So people are like, hey, let's seize this opportunity, and that's clearly not the right thing to do.
No. But
yeah, it seems to take away from the message at hand, and not just in those protests, but just in general, you know? It's an issue. Yeah,
I was watching if you look back, nothing's changed in the United States. It's been going on for way too long. If you look back in the I think it was 92, the Rodney King riots in LA, those were like some of the first big ones. It looked exactly like George Floyd in Minneapolis, burning down everything. And the crazy part is they got Rodney King to come on after a couple days of rioting. And he literally came on TV, and this is after they beat the shit out of him, and he was wrongfully beat, and those cops got away with it. He came on TV in front of everybody and said, "This is not what I want. I don't want the city to burn down. You're burning down minority-owned businesses. You guys are destroying." And I'm watching this like, holy cow, this is insane that they got the guy to come out and like talk and calm everybody down. That stopped it. And I think that it's a message that it's sad that things are still going on to this day, police brutality. But when you look at a guy like Rodney King, who was part of that, and he was really beat and everything that went down, and then he comes out and says, we need to come together, and you guys are not bringing anybody together.
That's the message that we need to be pushing at any level.
Yes, and I'm surprised that no media brought that up.
Yeah.
No media brought that up.
It's because they don't make money off that.
Exactly. They don't want us to come together. We talked about that in the podcast. I really don't think the media or the government wants us to come together.
Well, that's what we talked about, election security.
Yeah.
And the issue with that is like, no matter what you believe, okay, personally, I think it's going to be found in the court if it happened, and I don't think till now it has. I think they already declared Biden the winner because they they just like.
I mean, today they announced that Pennsylvania. The chances of Trump becoming president are very minimal.
But
it'd be crazy.
Yeah, but back to this is like we talked about. I don't think they want it to be fair. We don't think they want it to be fair, because there has to be ways that we can vote securely, but if they leave it up to, hey, maybe we can push right or left, I think both sides don't want it to be 100% sound, because then both sides can't bitch when they lose. Both sides can't claim fraud. Both sides can't claim, hey, these votes aren't real. It's just...
Also, why can't we vote from our phones yet?
That was the topic.
Well, that's what you said.
That's what I said.
I think that's a really good idea.
Very confused.
Why can't you? Like,
with all of the technology
somebody
that we have.
Somebody needs to ask
definitely.
these questions.
Yeah, no one
Get
is.
that going.
When you have an 89-year-old, 90 whatever year old, like they don't know.
Yeah.
Like you got to get smarter, younger people in there to take care of things. It's horrible because we should be able to in 2020. With all the technology we have, you should be able to vote off your phone.
If we can have our bank information on our phone and feel fine, we should be able to
Great
vote.
minds think alike. There
That's
you go.
exactly what I said.
Very now we're getting like relationships.
We have these conversations a lot, and that's why.
Yeah, Logan talks my ear off
I
every
like
single
talking.
day of my life.
I mean, that's what we're living in, though. Like, I 100% agree with you that they don't want it to be secure, because then, like you said, they can't find someone to bitch about.
Yeah,
and they can't claim it was wrong or fraud. That you're right there, 100%. Yeah.
That's what I truly believe.
I'm sure they'd still find a way to bitch.
Oh, for sure.
Claim fraud.
There's always going to be something.
There's always something.
Yeah.
There's always something that you can bitch about.
It's frustrating.
Do you want to talk about mental health at all?
We can.
A little bit. I mean, it's a topic we didn't cover because I feel like we're kind of just roundabouting on what we did on your show. And if you have any topics as well, just feel free to voice
What do you talk about with mental health?
This is more of her topic, but just general awareness, right? Like I've known in the past 2 years more people personally that I actually know that have committed suicide than in my entire life.
Really?
And I just think it's a big issue. So like it's tough for me to talk about and understand because I'm a very happy person. Like I really, really am down to the bone. So I don't 100% know how to relate. But she just opened my eyes to, hey, maybe it's a bigger issue that we should talk about. And it should be, a little bit more in the mainstream light and being okay with not being okay maybe. Because so many people, and this probably relates back to everything, like not being able to go get a job, not being able to go vote because you're nervous, not being able to start a podcast because you're so nervous. Like this comes back full circle and why social media is bad to possibly maybe mental health, honestly. And how people just don't know how to be okay with 5 likes when somebody else is getting 20, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm sure much more than that, but I don't know if you just want to expand on the topic at all.
Yeah, what's your opinion on it?
I think people are sad. A lot of people are sad.
Oh, 100%.
And I think what's happening right now, I'm not going to say the word, is bringing out a lot of loneliness and a lot of, again, social media, being on your phones, I think a major issue is seeing these perfect people on your phone. So people in the light, the Kardashians, those type of people that are editing their pictures, are only showing their lavish lives. Like when you look at social media, people are really only posting the high points. They're not showing like when they're sad and when they are depressed and when they're having these bad thoughts. It's only, oh yeah, I went on a trip. Oh yeah, I went out to eat. Oh yeah, I have this boyfriend and this dog and this beautiful life that I'm living. So when people are constantly looking at that, it's like you compare yourself to them and you can't live up to these perfect lives. But like at the end of the day, you're sad.
Well, it's part of the big issue is how like the younger generation is getting brought up on the platforms like Instagram or whatever, and that's how they live their whole childhood, is comparing themselves to the Kardashians or whoever it might be. So they don't know what to do. They don't know how to be themselves. They just know how to edit and filter and change everything and try to make everything look perfect so they can be the Kardashians or whoever they're looking up to. I don't know.
And then it's like you go and you edit, you put these filters on your pictures and you look cute and look pretty. And then you go and look in the mirror and you don't look like that.
Yeah.
And I think that can cause a lot of bad things to happen with your mental health.
I never thought about that. Yeah.
And I think girl world is a lot different than guy
100%.
world.
I
can tell it's not really clicking in your eyes.
I mean, I think it's something that needs to be talked about, just like seeing who you are, and you sometimes struggle with things too.
Yeah.
And that's like, that was real eye-opening for me because I never even thought about it from another person's perspective because I am such a happy person. I'm sure you are too. But like, we also have like, I was going to try to relate this and I kept trying to keep it in my mind so I didn't lose it. But like we talked about finding your motivation, finding your why.
Oh, yeah.
About, you know, like it's okay if you're not rich. It's okay if you don't have a boyfriend, girlfriend, dog. You just need to find why you want to get up in the morning and do that. Like,
you need, at the end of the day, you need to be there for yourself. Like, you need to be your own best friend. You can't rely on other people for your happiness because at the end of the day, people are people. And
human nature.
The only person at the end of the day is going to be yourself. And I think people need to be their own best friends and know that it's okay to not be okay.
And I'm sure you're struggling a little bit with the topic because, like, we just don't think about it, right? Like, I never even thought it was an issue until I met her and she opened up to me a little bit. And it's not a problem. And, like, I'm actually super open with her being open with it. And even myself, like, I mean, there's days where, like, I struggle, not really. It's tough. But, like, I have a motivation and a why of why I get up, right? And, like, we talked about just that and, like, happiness and in general, like, divorce, too. We talked about why that's so high. And it seems like the convenient thing to do. Let's say me and you, right? Let's say I want to have a $200,000 house in the middle of nowhere and you want to have a penthouse in New York. But we just but no, okay, but like let's just put that aside and like not think about this as me and you, but just as an example, we maybe overlook that right now because we, you know, love each other or whatever. Like you're going to overlook that because this is the convenient thing to do. You think you like each other. But this is what creates the situations that make people so unhappy is because they start to try to live their life for somebody else. And that brings it back to what you were saying. You need to be your own best friend and not count on other people because eventually, let's say you make me live in New York City. I hate it. I'm going to put up that front for 10 years. When I'm 35, I'm just going to disappear one day. And then people just become so unhappy. And I think we talked about that a little bit about finding your why and truly finding your why. And hey, if our goals align and we want to live the same places, that might be okay to have a relationship. And this is not even just relationship talk. This is just like in general. Yeah. Let's say I don't have a relationship, but I'm getting up every day and going to, let's say, a 9-to-5 in manufacturing, correct? But truly what I love to do is talk to people. Maybe you should go try to be a server or something just to pay the bills. And then maybe, hey, I use this example, I don't know why, but maybe all you want to do in your life is ice fish and fish. So go somewhere where that's possible for super cheap and just do that every day after you're making the minimum to pay your bills and do whatever makes you happy. Like you don't need to make an excess amount of money to keep buying a nicer car. Like it's the same thing with the PlayStation and the Xbox. You don't need to keep making money to keep buying the next gaming system. Like that's just a rat race, and that's unfortunately where we are today. Yeah. And why I think a lot of everybody is unhappy. But I'm trying to bring this full circle to like, I think a lot more people from my standpoint, and it's so hard to talk on because I don't have the firsthand experience with being unhappy or struggling with those things. But I think from an outside perspective of like why I am so happy, and maybe you could talk on why you're happy in life and those reasons you are. Yeah. From my perspective of, I know where I want to go in life and I know I'm setting myself up to do that. So I can put my head down in the things I'm doing right now and be happy, instead of doing something for somebody else, or for like, even if you, like, let's say you're single and you're doing stuff for your parents still, right? Like they wanted you to go to college. Like Gary Vee talks about this all the time. Like maybe you should start doing stuff for yourself and you'll probably be a lot happier no matter what it is, honestly. And like, you can't just be a bum and sit around. Like obviously you're not gonna be able to pay your bills, but if that is what makes you happy, do it. Bum around, couch surf. But you know what I mean? Like you just gotta find your why. And I think that's why I am so happy, is like I have a direction, and it's tough for people to find that. And I think that's what we were talking about too, is like, that's the counter argument, is some people are like, how do I find that? You got to get out and try something. But then that brings us full circle back to, why don't people get out and try things? Because they were never taught that that's okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough topic for me to talk about, because I handle situations and things in my life and people like way different than most people do. Like I don't even know what it is. I've always been different, just like in my life.
Me
like
too.
Clearly things are.
All right, guys.
And that's why it's so hard for me to relate to people that suffer from anxiety or depression or anything. Just because when I find myself having negative thoughts or thinking things are down, whatever, I just find myself finding a way to get rid of that right away. Yeah. Like, boom, it's done. Like, I don't know. Then I find myself wondering, why can't other people do that? But then I realize there's a lot more to it. Our brains are so complex, and people aren't black and white like we're told they are. You know, there's things going on at home, relationships, and how people were raised, and it took me a long time to realize that everyone is, there's so many layers to people, and I don't know why, but I'm missing all those things that tell me don't do that, or why are you thinking that? It's just I'm there.
Well, that's just like with the podcast, like when I hit you up and then you're super happy to help.
Yep.
And then I got the wrong shit. And then I'm like, let's go do it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of people in any situation in life, not just that, but like any situation where shit goes wrong, that would have killed it right there.
Yep.
I would have never done it. You know what I mean? Where like, I'm like, I don't care. Let's go get it. Like now we'll get it from wherever we need to get it.
Yep.
And that's just about like flipping the weight sets too. It's like,
Yep.
I went to every Walmart. You just got to go do things, you know? And like,
yeah.
It's easy to say, and like a lot of people will come back to the argument of money, but who put yourself in that, or who put you in that situation? Yourself. You know what I mean? Like, obviously there's a lot of topic around, you know, some people start ahead of people and have opportunities that people don't have. And
yeah.
I 100% agree with that. But also, you getting a apartment that you can't afford, right? Like, let's say you get a $600 a month apartment, you have a $300 a month car payment, and then you're complaining to me about being broke. That's stupid. You can go live somewhere for $250,
yeah,
and then not get a car payment, buy a $1,000 car off Craigslist straight up. Hey, look, you're financially free now.
Yeah,
you can do whatever hobby you want to do.
Yeah,
you can go spend $100 on a fishing pole, $100 on a skateboard, $100 on art equipment. You know.
It's easy for us to talk about.
Yeah, it's so hard
making
to,
calculated
I hate
decisions.
that,
How come other people though have a tough time being able? Well, not just balancing, but being able to function properly and like.
I think it's the way you were raised. It comes back to what you learn from your parents. If your parents are taking out credit cards, maxing them out, that's obviously what you're going to learn to be okay.
Yeah.
So we were clearly raised different, money oriented, you know how to save your money, you know how to handle your money. But I think parents have a large part to do with that.
What do you say to people then that grew up in a bad household? Because I want to believe that everyone has the potential to go do crazy things.
Everybody does. Everybody that's super successful has a crazy story.
But they're held back though. You know, they're held back.
It's definitely a hurdle.
Yeah. That's the thing though. Whenever I talk to people like that, it's tough to put myself in their position, and then I feel like, you know, you're talking and you're like, oh well, you know, it wasn't like that for them. Their whole mindset's different.
Yep.
That's the challenge.
You can always say someone has it better or worse and whatnot. So I think it all just depends on your drive and how bad you want it.
It is ridiculous how lazy Americans are. It's ridiculous how lazy I am when I think about it, and I'm perfectly fine and in front of most people because of hard work. But when I look at myself, I'm lazy. Like, there's so much time that I waste. Like, that's where the argument of like people start in head, and I do 100% back that. Like, I hate people that say everybody has equal opportunity straight up, because that's just not true. That just isn't true.
Yeah.
But if you do work harder than everybody, you will make it. Like, I think about how much time I spend like when I think about this, like backing up right out of my body, I'm like, geez, like, what are other people doing that are having a tough time? Because I feel like I waste a lot of time and I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's still plenty of hours in the day where I could be doing something more beneficial. And I think like that brings it back to like next step in what I'm trying to provide and help with is like, even myself, I find that I want to do something. Like, I want to put my energy somewhere, but I have no clue where. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people get stuck in that and then just quit. Like, they're not going to try to go farther. They're not going to try to, like, I can put like investing for me in that aspect of like, if I didn't have those Twitter guys to help out and to help me learn, and then like my friend Bjorn to help out and like teach me, I would have never got started. So like, that's where like I'm trying to provide any insight into any topic of how you can keep going, how you can keep moving forward. Like, and that right there, like, you helped me set up the podcast. Without your help, I would have never got this off the ground. And that's just true. You know what I mean? So like that, like, how can we provide people with insight and experience of like how to keep going forward, like using your resources? Like, if you're watching this and you want to start investing, go follow those guys on Twitter. Yeah. And message me and I'll send them, or I'll send you their links there. You know what I mean? Yep. And like, I can't provide that help, but I can at least provide a connection. And that's like where I was talking about the credit cards. I'm trying to help people understand how they can use that to their, you know what that
And even like my little jewelry business, I don't know if he
told me a little bit about
it.
it, yeah.
But
of course.
when I started that, before I started that, I was like, I don't even know if this is possible. I have no idea where to start. Went on YouTube, figured out that I can order all of the shipping stuff on Amazon, figure out how to package it, send it out, and it's so much easier than you think it is. I mean, even starting this, I mean, obviously you had to buy the equipment and set it up, but stuff is not that hard to do. Like,
it just looks hard.
People just need to get off their butts and try it out.
Yeah.
And again, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and you're on to the next thing.
Well, people don't want to fail nowadays.
Oh,
yeah.
Failure is the biggest teacher you can get. You know, if you fail at something, you might fail 10 times. The 11th time you might get it, and all those times you failed, you learned something.
Like,
so.
if we put this out and I get 5 views, that would discourage a lot of people, but I'm going to keep talking because I like
exactly,
talking.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, you talked about that, and maybe you could talk on, like, your clothing business and stuff. Like, there's a lot of things that you can do that don't require a lot of talent.
No.
And they just require a lot of hustle and drive. And, like, I think I want to talk much more on the topic just in general, like, overall episodes about how the reason I started this is because I have so much energy and I had no clue where to put it.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many people struggle with that exact same thing. So hopefully we can talk about more continuing.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk on like how you got started with your clothing business, because that's pretty cool, because I did like the same thing. So
yeah,
you know,
well,
plug that too as well.
So the clothing company is TUN. I'm wearing it here. T-shirts from Wyndham is what it stands for. And it started off because we needed like cool merchandise for like the football team. Like there was nothing cool. I don't know if you guys had.
Yeah, like a school store was making our stuff.
They were
making
it.
Yeah, not cool. Nobody wants it.
No one wanted it. And so they're asking me, why don't you go to the art, because we had like a screen printing lab. Why don't you go work with the art teacher and you guys can do it. And so I went and talked to her. Figured out pretty quick we were on the same page. So I'm like, well, I need to go home and I need to figure out how to do this. I don't have never done it before in my life.
Yep.
Never knew how to do it. Didn't have any money, so we had to we built a 4-station screen printing press out of wood, me and my dad.
That's awesome.
Bought all the stuff, built everything else, built all the screens. We stretched all of them. I learned a ton, and then we just started printing shirts for football, baseball, every sport, hockey, and then they were all selling a ton. And then I'm
feeling.
like, yeah, it is. It's a good feeling when you like there's a need and then you do it. Then I quickly realized it's cool doing that, but I want to like design actual other things that aren't related to school.
Yep.
Because I just liked wearing them. So I'd start wearing them. People would be like, oh, I want that. So then I'd print them and sell them. And then when I went to college, it kind of had to take a back seat because you have to focus on things that you're passionate about more. It sucks, but I'm not a clothing designer.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Yeah.
But
it shows that you can do anything.
Yeah,
like, you just
exactly.
gotta work.
You learn and you teach yourself. And so when I came back after I dropped out of college, I just started doing it again and designing a lot more, wearing it, and then everyone was like, "Oh, I want that!" Like I'm like, "All right, I'll launch a website."
Yeah.
So we did a couple drops, made however much money, a couple $1,000s on each one, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna keep doing it. So that's kind of where I'm at today. Whenever I have free time, I will go on Photoshop or Illustrator, whatever, make designs, show them to friends, whichever ones they like. I'll print them out, make them, and then if people like them, they buy them.
Heck yeah.
That right there, like what you just said, is like when I have time. Like it doesn't need to be your full-time thing either.
No.
Like, hey, when you find yourself sitting for 6 hours on a Saturday, try to put your energy into something productive.
Yep.
And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with, and even myself struggle with, and that's why I started this. But I went down that avenue too once. I just couldn't sustain it, and I just let it die. I shouldn't have. But like it's cool to hear about like kids our age doing things like that. And it doesn't have to be the greatest idea, and you don't have to have your shit together.
No.
Like, you can figure out how to do it. You know?
And this is the perfect time to be doing it.
Oh, 100%.
It's like you don't have any, well, especially me. I'm unemployed over here. I don't have anything like better to do except start something.
Nobody our age has anything better to do than try things and fail at them. This is the best age. Up until like 30, you don't need to be anywhere. You don't need to do anything.
No problem.
Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to move. It's like you can always come back.
Yes.
That's one of the things I heard today. You can always come back. Go do something. Go fail at something, and you can always come back and be comfortable. But get out of your comfort zone and like try things and fail and make an embarrassment out of yourself, and your family can be disappointed in you like mine was when I dropped out of college.
Really?
Oh, 100%. When I told my dad that I wanted to drop out, we didn't talk for a little bit. Like it was like one of those things where I was like, he's like, you need to think about that, because when you drop out of college and move back here, it's going to be a permanent thing. You're not going to go back after that because we've already put a lot of money into this, and like you need to be sure about that. So I thought about it for a month, and I'm like, I'm moving back. I don't want to be here. I love Chicago, but college wasn't for me. Like I just wasn't learning anything.
What year were you?
2 years. I went for 2.
Okay.
Then dropped out. So it was like the turning point. If you go after that, if you go 3 years, and you pretty much need to finish.
Stuck,
I was at that halfway. I'm like, I gotta get out of here. So I went back to Wyndham, moved back home, and I became a janitor at the local.
Talk about this. This is what people can't swallow their ego to do. This is what we were talking about, like grocery delivery.
Yeah.
You need to swallow your ego to do some jobs. Like it's just gotta happen.
It was embarrassing. For everyone that thought I was gonna go to Chicago and become a famous, because my whole town thought I was gonna go to Chicago and become a famous movie maker. Like that's
hilarious.
That's what everyone thought. And then I moved back home.
Great.
I'm working at McDonald's for a little bit, and then a janitor for 5 months or whatever, and then I quit everything. I'm like, I need to do video work full time, even though I don't have any money. I had the equipment already from previous projects, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do video work full time. And now I've been doing it for 3 years now, full time video work.
That's a great story, honestly.
Dropped out of college and become a janitor. It's a sad. it's embarrassing, but like you said, swallow your ego and do the work. And when you find the thing that you love doing, do it every day. You'll never work another day in your life because you're doing what you love. I don't complain about it at all. Like I get to work for companies. I get to pick my hours. I get to wake up when I want. I get to.
It's a great feeling.
Stay up all night if I want.
Yeah,
not
it's a
work.
great feeling.
And I don't know. Hopefully this can sustain itself. COVID's been tough for everybody.
Yep.
It hasn't been crazy tough on me because businesses have wanted to find other ways to be creative with delivery commercials or whatever. So we've done a lot of different things. But hopefully in the future, I can keep growing it to just how do you develop that more and how do you expand on that more. The next thing maybe would be get more employees or get people working.
Yeah, do you have anybody employed for you?
I have people that I can hire for jobs if I need them, but nobody's working for me full time. I love that though. Just right now is kind of a bad time with everything going on.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. In the future though, 100%. I want to go places. I'm not going to be here forever. This is a temporary thing. And like we talked about failing at a lot of things, succeeding at other things, and finding what sticks and going with it. But everyone just needs to take that step, and I don't know why people are afraid to. People are afraid of getting out of their comfort zones for some reason, and that's just never been me.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, that's an intangible thing that not a lot of people have, and that's like when you meet somebody that has that, like when I met you, you met me, like I'm sure you knew right away. Like you just talk, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, head down being awkward and like there's people like that, and I'm not knocking people like that by any means, but like they were just never
like me.
Yeah. You're not terrible at it,
I was gonna say I didn't get that feeling at all. I think
good.
I meet people all the time that are like very socially awkward. Like it's almost impossible to have a conversation.
Yes.
They won't look you in the eyes.
Yes.
You can tell a lot about a person by their handshake.
Yes.
That's what my dad told me from a young age. You can tell a lot about a person by their handshake. I'll meet people our age and I'll shake their hand and it's like a limp.
Are they wimpy? Yeah.
It's just a limp. Whenever I meet people who are in business or whatever, and you greet, this sounds like such a dumb thing, but you greet them with a firm handshake almost every time they say something about it. Like, wow, that was a nice handshake.
Yeah,
like
not a lot of people do it.
No, yeah.
I've been practicing.
It's just like, it's like a first impressions are a huge part of meeting people, and that's another thing that they could talk about in school is just making eye contact and talking to people and smiling and reaching out and listening to people. We don't get taught how to listen.
It's such a struggle when you're young though, because like even I struggle with it, so I know people struggled with it because I'm comfortable just talking to anybody about anything.
Yeah, but
I think
they should honestly start it in like kindergarten and do like weekly presentations starting in
just
kindergarten, first grade, second grade.
What do you talk about in kindergarten? Bananas and building
whatever.
blocks?
Anything you want to talk about, man.
That would be, I feel like, the best way to do it is start it when you're young and comfortable. They don't like my little brother is in second grade. He wouldn't care. He would get up there and strut his stuff, but as long as you ingrain it into like kids' brains, I feel like more people would grow up being okay with talking in public and like having conversations.
Yeah. Isn't that weird though how kids are really good at talking and like meeting new people, but then there's some age where like our brain
that switch flips.
Is it middle school where you think you're cooler than everybody or like I don't know what it is, but you go from
and then
being
you start overthinking things.
Yeah.
Well, that's
like,
the thing
gosh,
too. Like
gosh.
I get from you when you present or do anything. Like she's so in
I'm
her
not
own
even
head.
listening to what you're saying. I'm just thinking in my head, and then by the time you ask me, I'm like, I don't even.
Or like
know
when I present or like in a class, I just go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't think about it. I don't rehearse. Like
Yep.
I'm just gonna go and talk. And if it's not great, it's not great. Like
100%.
it is okay. Like you talk, you mess up. Like it. Speeches are bad for me actually. If I try to memorize something, like if I'm forced to memorize something, that is when I mess up because I'm like 3 lines in and I mess up something and then I'm already like, oh shit, and nobody even knows I messed up anything.
Yeah.
But then you're in your own head and then it's like whoop, downhill from there. But that's why I choose like not to like people always like ask. I had like the college speech class, you know, and everybody would be like, how are you just like getting up there and doing it like no note card, no nothing? And I'm like, because you got to find a topic that you're comfortable talking on and then just go from your head and it'll flow a lot more smooth than like right now if I was reading off a paper, like it wouldn't flow at all, you know?
I think my brain would freeze up and like nothing would come. Like I would sit up there like deer in headlights if I did that because I would be like, I don't know.
That's a good point though, because some people like I'm like 100% a bullshitter. Like obviously you're a bullshitter.
Yes.
Like I could go in college easily not know anything about the topic and I could talk about it for an hour.
Yeah.
You know, it could be something I never heard of.
Just got to know the way to steer the conversation.
Well, and even like people at going to college here will have they'll pay me to write their papers. I don't take the class. I don't know anything about it. Gender studies, whatever. I will write about anything because it's so easy for me to come up with things that sound intelligent.
It's so easy.
But they're not. So it's like, I don't know who gave me that. My dad. I have no idea. But it's one of those things where you'll know a bullshitter when you see one. But some people just don't have that in them.
And I think like that whole topic that we just went on, you know, is it's kind of like if you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't. And it is a tough thing to teach.
Yeah.
But you could definitely like get people more comfortable in those situations, like she talked about in kindergarten and like forcing them to talk. And it sounds like the worst thing ever when you're young. But when you grow up, like that's probably the most valuable skill. And
I might actually make my kids do that. Like I might take them out in public and make them. Starting at age 5.
Yeah.
I know people that can't even order like their own food at a restaurant. Yes, like
really?
I have this one friend who refuses to call anywhere for delivery, do anything like that. And it's like those are the people that never get anything done because you won't pick up the phone, you won't do stuff like that. Like for this, right? If I didn't like have the balls to reach out to you, this would have never got done if I wasn't comfortable enough not knowing you at all either, like being like, hey, like you have a podcast, could you help me out? You know, and you too being as nice enough as you are to just mosey on over and help us figure it out. You know what I mean?
I love helping people.
And that's like we talked about why people don't get places in life. And when I met you or when you met me, vice versa, if you're a nice human being and truly like, hey, what's up, man? Like, you know what I mean?
Just caring about people. Yeah,
just caring about people and not being stuck up and thinking you're too good for people. You never know where those people are going to be. Like maybe if let's say I was super mean to a kid that I didn't think was going to be anywhere. And then one day he was like, oh, I had this great opportunity for you, but you know what I mean? He's thinking like, nope. And that's like where we talked about where if you're just nice to people, there's so many opportunities that will come to you without you even having talent. It's all about who you know. Thomas always says that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it is all about who you know. And if you're nice to them and you just are open with them and talk to them as a normal human being, no matter who they are, you're going to get a lot of niceness reciprocated in anything, you know, job, hobbies, fun, anything. If you're stuck up and you think you're too good for things, like it's just not going to be good.
Yeah.
It's never going to be good.
Well, at the end of the day, we're all living in Mankato. No one here is in Hollywood. No one here is making $1 million. Well, there are people making $1 million. But no one here is better than anybody else. You know,
we try to stress that a lot.
I hate that attitude, that mindset of thinking you're better because you have no idea what someone's going through or. You could meet somebody who is just a total piece of shit, but they're making a lot of money. You could meet someone who is somebody who's like the nicest person ever. You'd have no idea, and they could be making a lot of money. Yeah. So you should never ever go in when you meet somebody or talk to somebody or just in general, have your preconceived notions about how they're going to be or anything. People just need to care about each other and talk, and we'd be a much better country if that be something that people could actually grasp and do. We just don't see that every day, though.
Very true.
It's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Facebook and the older generation complaining about we'll loop this into the being the better person.
Yeah.
And the older generation complaining about us and how social media is going to wreck us and how we're going to.
Terrible.
Yeah. But then you get on there and you see all these ridiculous arguments happening.
Yeah.
It's mostly 40 to 60-year-olds. And that's where, like, hey, you can have your opinion. Like, you're conservative on the fact that people shouldn't censor media.
Yeah.
I don't have the same opinion as you 100%. Like, I'm also not the other way on it. But we're able to talk about it and have a, normal conversation. And I think we talked about it a little bit, but social media just enables the ridiculous comments that can come out of people.
Facebook fights.
Oh, man.
Gosh. Yeah.
And it's like, at some point, even I catch myself wanting to comment on some stuff because I'm like, that's just so far out of the question.
I had to stop him. I had to take his phone away.
Yeah, one time.
No more Facebook fights.
And it's like, I don't want to get involved sometimes, but there's a point where it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, left or right, it's just not a human statement. Like, where are you thinking you're getting that information from?
How big is the town that you guys are from?
Town I'm from, 1,700 people.
1,700. What about you?
I don't know.
A lot.
Oh, it's okay. Because I'm from Windham, which is very small. Yeah, under 5,000 people, and they're the groups on Facebook where people go, what's up Windham, or whatever it is. That one's not too bad, but there's other groups there that is just pretty much people talking politics and trashing each other. We're talking grown people, like parents.
I've lost a lot of respect for a lot of people that I used to look up to.
Yeah, and they're talking about coming to each other's houses and doing stuff and burning things down and damaging
that's
property.
The kind of talk, like, should that even be allowed online? Like,
no.
That's a threat at that point.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, why, if you're 50, why are you on Facebook threatening another person's parent or whatever, because everyone here knows each other in Windham. Everyone runs into each other at the grocery store, and now they're all acting like a bunch of idiots. And then what are you going to do when you run into that person?
Yeah, because you wouldn't say that in person.
No. They're all going to be, oh, hey, Jim. Hey, Jim. You go on Facebook like, no. Everyone is so fake. Not everybody, but I even see it with people our age. Well, big time with people our age, how you can go online, trash them, or even in person behind their back, trash them, and then when you see them in real life,
especially with girls.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's a whole nother level.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that.
Yeah. Thank God we're men.
Right?
You guys have it so good.
Yeah. It's horrible though, and I try to call that out. And I think everybody can be a hypocrite, but whenever I find myself doing it, I try to catch it. And it's something everybody can work on, but just being more real with people. Like, tell them how you actually feel. If you're going to talk about them behind their back, tell them that to their face. Yeah,
tell them that that's not your opinion.
Yes.
But you don't need to say you're going to burn somebody's house down or, you know what I mean? Like, that type of talk is just ridiculous. We can have a conversation on Facebook. It's a good tool.
Yeah.
But maybe let's cite some, not like cite, but drop
APA, baby.
drop where you're getting your information and say, hey, there's an investing GM that I'm in with like 30 kids, honestly. And sometimes it's like, I'm just putting this information in here. I'm not taking a standpoint on this information, but this is public knowledge.
Yep.
So,
AKA enforcing all of the fights.
Well, I mean, it's
you're like link dropping. You're link dropping. Yeah.
Conversation is good, but the conversation where you don't even know what's going on, like we talked about the debates, and why we couldn't even understand what the heck was going on because they're not mature enough to actually answer a question in a full sentence.
Yeah.
They just scream at each other. It's the same type of thing, right? Like a presidential debate, can be great. Like a great tool for us to see what they believe in if they're actually truthful, which we talk about. They just shave every question.
Yeah.
But if you think about the concept of a debate and two people talking with one moderator, giving them time to answer, that's a great form of discussion, and that's what America is. You should be able to have that discussion.
Yep.
But then there comes a point where the Facebook conversations are just like the debate that happened. And then I think we talked about a little bit of that and like the character of how do we want our nation to proceed. And you can't even blame the people that are arguing on Facebook like that because they're so entrapped that they don't see that that's wrong because they watched the debate and that's what's portrayed to them.
Yeah.
So why should they be any different than the two guys that might lead our country?
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think the other part is those people that are on there arguing or whatever, it's kind of the thing that the media wants to happen. Like we talked about division. They love the little fights in the small towns. They love that. They love that because you're going to have the people that are going to go to Fox, the people that go to CNN, and they're never going to they're never going to deviate from that.
Yep.
And so they love the division and everyone arguing, and because they're worried about that instead of the bigger picture, the things that are really affecting our country is not the small little things that people argue about on Facebook, because they're really arguing about things that don't even matter.
No, and I mean, a lot of the times they're arguing about topics that, I mean, we talked about this a little bit. The topics that most presidential debates, what's talked about, or what's just talked about in the mainstream media, and then throughout people, like, talking about policy, a lot of that crap doesn't even matter.
No.
Like, the issues that we should be having those debates on, people won't touch because it is such a controversial topic. But if people would have such a little less, like, strong-minded opinion, like, I am right, like, on Impulsive, did you check that out yet or no?
I have watched a couple, actually.
Yeah.
Some of the people that on there, I'm like, I can't believe you can get those guests
right?
on there.
So, he had a guy named Sadhguru, and we watched it. Everybody should check this out. Like, I love this guy.
What's his name?
Sadhguru.
Sadhguru.
What
He's
does
like
that sound like to you?
Indian?
What kind of guy? No, just what kind of guy?
He's just a dude, man.
Oh, really?
He's like a Gandhi.
I don't even know.
So I was right there.
And it's like there's some things that are ridiculous, but his perspective on if people would stop just thinking they know, like, there would be so much less conflict. Like, if I don't think I 100% know that the election was fraud, we're not going to argue over it until it actually happens. We can have that discussion if it happens.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's just a bad topic because a lot of people just have that in their mind. But, like, it comes down to even, like, me thinking, I don't know, it's if people would stop believing before they know, like, there would be so much less 100% hatred. You know what I mean? Like, let's have the discussion before we come to our one-sided conclusion. Let's talk about all aspects of the discussion. So if Facebook was used like that, it'd be a great tool, but people just put, like, the farthest right and the farthest left stuff on there.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, that's why, like, I try to say, and I think you got a message about that, or I did, about, like, how I won't say yes or no on any topic almost, because I think it's the stupidest thing, because almost all these topics we're talking about, there's both sides to both of them. And a lot of people can have good points on both sides of both of them.
Yeah.
And if there was one answer, there wouldn't be two sides. So, like, I don't like picking one side because I think it's a dumb thing to do because we just don't know. Like, you can't tell me you know if the election was rigged. I can't tell you if I know the election was rigged. So why do so many people think they know it was rigged on Facebook or think they know it wasn't rigged on Facebook? Like,
it's interesting because I was going to bring up, I wish more people were opinionated our age on stuff. That's my opinion. I hate indecisiveness, like not knowing what you want.
So you hate what I do, or what?
No. I can appreciate that.
No, I can appreciate you too, because
just
people need to not. I'm not trying to say, like, I'm guessing you're trying to bring it to, like, people are kind of sheep and do just follow whatever anybody's telling. But I'm not saying that. I think everybody should have opinions on things, but they should be more educated on things.
Oh, 100%.
Like, before you have that opinion, you can have any opinion you want, and I won't hate you for it, no matter how extreme it is. Because if you can give me a reason why you have that opinion, I respect it. If you just tell me that you love something and you can't give me any facts on it, I'm like, that's a ridiculous statement. Because then you're just causing issues when you don't even know what you're arguing.
I would almost rather have somebody, though, opinionated on it and maybe wrong than somebody that says, I don't really care. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't really care. Like, I have a lot of friends who I could ask, like, what do you think about that? Oh, it doesn't bother me. I don't really care.
I don't like that. I like discussion.
But you can't have a discussion if they don't have an opinion.
That is true. But you can have a discussion if you talk about facts. You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about the education system. I don't have to have an opinion that I hate it or I don't. But let's just talk about the education system and see where it leads. Because then you can form your own opinion at the end that it probably needs to be changed.
And maybe you have an opinion, you just don't know it. You need to talk about it.
I mean, you have an opinion on it, though.
Yeah, 100%.
You have an opinion on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But
I just won't say anything's right or wrong.
Because well, no, that's not what I mean by that. I mean more that you have a point of view, a perspective on it, and you bring that out. Whereas a lot of people just won't. Like, if I were to ask somebody what do you not like about college? Doesn't matter to me. I don't really care.
Yeah.
You could tell me, here's the things I don't like.
No, I hate that. Yeah.
So that's an opinion.
I agree that people should have opinions. 100%.
You don't like when people think that
they know it all.
They know it all.
That's a
like
fact.
Everything.
I don't like when people think their opinions are facts.
Yeah.
We can chalk it up to that because I love opinionated people. Those are the best type of people because they'll have a conversation with me and hold a conversation with me. I don't care what your opinion is. You'll hold a conversation with me. So I get what you're saying where people should have an opinion. But I hate when that opinion turns into fact and only one-sided. That's what I'm saying. I hate when they're so blinded that they think their opinion can't be changed. That's what I hate.
I definitely used to have that problem. Like in high school, people knew me as like one of the biggest arguers. Like I would argue.
Oh, me too. I'll argue with teachers. I argue with our econ teacher, got kicked out of the class. Oh my god.
Really? I don't think I ever got kicked out, but I definitely argue with teachers and other people
so fun.
about it. I mean, it was, but I quickly realized that I was, creating more enemies,
negative,
of negative
and you get
vibe.
really nothing out of it.
Yeah, and so I turned that energy that I was putting into arguing more into listening and trying to get other people's perspectives, which is something that I didn't do in high school, which I regret.
Yep.
Because everyone just knew me. Oh, Ethan's gonna come argue.
Yeah.
And still to this day, people give me shit about it, and I think everyone realizes that we grow, which is another thing we talked about, how people deserve another chance, or they deserve a chance to grow. With the cancel culture we're in right now, it's almost impossible if you make a mistake to bounce back. So I really appreciate everyone who gives me a second chance to talk to them, even though before I might have been very opinionated and like, no, I'm right, you're wrong, shut up. So I've came a ways from that.
Yeah, I mean, I was like the same person, honestly.
Yeah.
We are like the same person. But that's like why I want to do this as well, is I love hearing people. Everybody should have an opinion that would come on your show, my show, anybody's show.
Yeah.
But I think that was like a good conversation, because I'm not against opinions. I'm against people thinking 100% that they know without any factual evidence to back it up.
And it's like everybody's different. Everybody has their own experiences. So like you knowing one thing is different than me knowing one thing.
That's like Spirit. I might hate you if you tell me Spirit sucks. That's the only thing I
like
draw
the movie?
line. No, the plane.
The planes.
Oh, we talked about this.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
about
like,
flying sheep, and people are like, oh.
The horse movie? I'm like, what are you talking about?
I might hate you if you tell me Spirits for like.
No, we used it all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the only place where I'll hate you if you think Spirit sucks. But like that comes back to people having an opinion because of their experience. So maybe I shouldn't hate you if you tell me Spirit sucks. Maybe your experience sucked. But every time I'm on that airline, it's great, and I paid $500 less than you to fly Delta.
A lot cheaper,
I miss out on a bag of pretzels and a screen in my seat, but I do have this thing that I can charge, download any movie to.
Oh, yeah.
And then I maybe just bring some pretzels and a protein bar. Hey, what does that cost me? A whole $5 and a download on the free Wi-Fi at the plane to save $700?
Yeah, until you have. Well, my brother had a bad experience on Spirit one time. The plane, or like the flight was canceled, and then it wasn't, and then it was canceled, and then they missed it because they told him it was canceled, but it actually took off. Tough. But we still fly. He still flies it. It's like
you'll have those situations.
On any airline. Yeah, like all those people that were getting dragged out of flights or whatever because they apparently didn't like have the right ticket or whatever, even though their ticket said they had the right ticket.
Oh my gosh.
And then every time, I'm never flying United again. It's like, shut up.
Like just bad situations. Like that comes back to everything too, with like police brutality and everything. Is you're gonna have a few bad apples.
Oh, 100%.
There's ways to vet that out, because I don't want to say that's okay, but like it's just gonna happen, and it's all the way you handle it. Like the victim mentality too. I think that's a big thing of why I am so positive and happy as well. And the only time I was negative was when like my truck was breaking down like 3 times, and like everything I did that week was just bad, right?
Yeah.
But like I think.
But imagine that's like everybody's regular week.
See,
like,
but that's
when
what
one thing goes bad, then everything goes bad.
That's what I'm
like. God damn.
That's what I'm trying to bring it to. Why I think I'm happy is like. That's why people hate Spirit, is the victim mentality. Hey, it happens once. It probably won't happen another 20 times, but it might happen once. And that's like the same thing with like just being positive in general. Like that's what I like. Like we talked about speaking things into existence, and maybe we can talk a little bit more.
Manifestation.
Yeah, maybe we can talk a little bit more about that, because we didn't really expand on that on the podcast.
No, yeah, we didn't talk about that too much.
I truly, truly, truly believe that when you think things are going to happen, things are going to happen. And like a good example, and I think I brought this up, was the stock market crashing if Biden won. And it's the complete opposite of that. And I don't want to say that's because of Biden, because it's not, or because of Trump, because it's not. But if you're going to create the narrative that it's just going to go to shit, everybody's going to pull their money out, it's going to go to shit. But don't worry about that stuff until it happens, right? If it crashes 1,000 points in a day, you have, for no reason, right? For no reason, all of a sudden out of the blue, you can panic, you can have some worry. But I have a problem with people that just create terrible narratives that bad things are going to happen. Like that comes back all the way to presenting in front of a class and stuff. Yeah. When you're so worried and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to mess up. Like even her, it's like
introducing myself as your boyfriend.
Yeah. You were a little nervous.
That was funny.
But right. Like that's kind of like the speaking shit into existence and truly believing that you're going to succeed and you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, you need to catch yourself. Like, when I caught myself that week, like, you were even telling me, you don't act like that. Like, I got to stop that.
I said, shut up. I'm the negative one.
Yeah, right? So, and then you got to find the positive lights on good weeks. And, like, that's what I think I do pretty well. Like, when good things happen, I'm like, oh, that thing way outweighs that little bad thing that happened to me, right? So I got to stop dwelling on those things. And I think
you have to appreciate every little good thing that happens throughout every day.
Oh, yeah.
That's when I found myself becoming a lot happier, was just because you're not, like, looking forward to this trip or looking forward to, like, going out on Friday night. Instead of always looking forward, like, live your life in the moment and appreciate, like, when, I don't know, little things happen throughout the day.
Well, I think if everybody had, it's one thing that I've wrote down to focus more on whenever I'm feeling like whatever is bothering me. It's like perspective. There are people who are in horrible positions, whether they're handicapped or they're, people just have all kinds of things that affect them differently. Yeah. And
no matter what,
you look at that and you're like, wow, I'm actually very lucky to be in the position I'm in. And I think anybody can find that, no matter what it is for you. You look at somebody that was fighting in Iraq or whatever, and they lost a limb, and they're coming back here and they're public speaking and they're talking to everybody, or they have a lot to be disappointed and mad about, but they're out there and they're putting themselves out there and they're happy and they're positive. Just like if people had more perspective, they would probably be happier every single day of their lives. But
very true.
Such a hard thing for Americans because we want everything and we think we deserve everything.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's a negative thing to be around, but you can't let that eat you up.
I think that's like who you surround yourself with is an insane.
Oh, yeah.
And that right there is the speaking shit into existence in a macro sense of you're around positive people that don't want to do bad things and drag you down. You'll probably end up being one of those people.
Yeah.
You're not just going to be the one bum in the group. Like, that's hard to, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. If everybody around you has no money in their bank account, they're partying every day, blacking out every day, hardly go to class, and then you are positive, but that's all you're surrounding yourself with,
you're going to fall in.
You always want to be a part of who you're around.
Yep.
So you're going to be that person. And I think that's that comes back to yourself. If I'm thinking negative thoughts and I'm not thinking positive, I'm going to be who I think I am, right?
Yep.
Where if I'm thinking positive thoughts and I'm thinking, hey, I need to get this done, I need to work on this was positive today, let's keep moving forward, you're going to keep moving forward and keep doing good things. Like, that's just that's trying to dumb it down to, like, a group is very obvious. Like, this one guy that went to college got in with the wrong group, went to shit. The opposite, one guy that was a complete bum in high school that got with the right group and is now way up. Like, think about that on a single perspective of yourself as well, and not just your friends. If you're so negative and all you can think about is bad things and nothing good's going to happen to me, I'm not going to get this job, I'm not going to make this business work, I'm not going to sell anything that I'm making, that's going to happen.
Well, what do they say? You are the sum of, like, the 5 people you hang out with the most.
Yeah.
I think that's
so true. I found that to be so true.
People don't know that whoever you hang out with all the time, they have way more. You might be, I'm not like my friend at all.
Yeah.
But you hang around with that person every day, you're gonna become like your friend. So yeah, like you said, I 100% agree. You need to be around people that push you, that want you to be better.
Which is hard to find. Because a lot of people want to push themselves higher and not other people.
And they're afraid of telling their friend, I don't like that you do that. They don't want to tell their friend.
No conflict.
Yeah, exactly. No conflict, which is another thing that we need to encourage in school.
Yes.
We talked about that a little bit before, but going to people and being like, I don't think you should be doing that. I don't care what you think of me for saying that, but to be honest, I think it's going to hurt you in the long run. And most people can't have that conversation because they think that might kill the friendship. And if it kills a friendship, then
it's probably not a friend.
Probably not a friend, yeah. And I've had friends friends that were not really friends anymore that I told them, like, I don't approve of you doing that. I think it's dumb.
Yeah.
I think it's going to make things worse for everybody. Why would you tell me that? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a bad friend.
Yeah.
See you later. Like, I don't know. I can't
trying to help them out.
Yeah,
and, like,
exactly.
You're not always right either. Like, that's something to think about. But
no.
Also, like, you're going to want to give them an outside perspective because a lot of times when you're doing bad stuff, you can't even see that you're doing it because you're so entrapped in it. And that outside perspective is what keeps you going, and that's why you are the sum of who you hang out with.
Yep.
Like, if I hang out with bad people, I'm a completely different person. And then it's like, I don't even realize that, like, like you have that potential on the other side, like if you try to do something else.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, I told you a little bit about, we didn't talk about drinking a lot on yours, but like that's something where I'm a lot different than a lot of other people my age, is I don't drink like hardly ever. I definitely have drank in the past, and I've drank a little bit, but I that's like a tough thing for me to not do because I miss out on things. But like I saw the other side. So for me, I'm just not going to drink because I don't do good on the other side. Some people might. So if that's for you, you should do it. And if you like doing it, do it.
Yep.
But I saw what I was when I drank, what I got done. I don't know one person that's quit smoking or drinking that hasn't leveled up, that hasn't moved their life in a positive direction. And like, that's something to think about. Like for myself is like, it wasn't very tough because I'm just different. I'm weird. But like I could not drink forever and be perfectly fine. Like we were talking about what's your number that you would never drink a sip of alcohol the rest of your life?
Like
how much money? How much money would I have to pay you?
How much money? Huh. Yeah, we should get into alcohol.
I don't know. A little bit?
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
It's definitely a topic where I'm just so different than other people.
He's strange.
I'm just different.
That's
like,
all right, though.
And
I'm trying to think of an answer to your question, though.
All right, you keep thinking about it. You keep thinking about it, and I'll kind of talk on it. So
think of like 1 year. How long would it, or how much money would it take?
To quit for a year?
Yep.
Oh, I'd probably quit for a year for...
His is going to be low.
10 grand probably.
I said $500.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I thought yours was going to be lower because I know you're a type of person that has the willpower. I think it's like a type of person, too, that you have to have that quality.
Oh,
like,
I could quit tomorrow
I know
for
you
free.
could. I know you could. Like, that's why I knew your number was going to be a little lower, like I thought. But that's still pretty low, I think. That's still pretty low.
I'm thinking at the same point, though, if I had 10 grand, that'd be nice. So I'm
yeah,
trying to get more
you're
money
going to go up. That's
yeah.
what she said.
That's exactly what I said. I was like,
I could quit if someone gave me $100, but I'm thinking if I get 10 grand out of the deal, that'd be pretty nice.
That's my exact thought process.
To me, though, I think I 100%, first of all, appreciate being our age and not drinking, because that's a huge thing.
It's tough.
And I think that for you to understand that you are a different person when you're on that is something that most people our age wouldn't even want to think about. They just don't. They don't care, and they don't want to think about the opposite thing happening.
There's so much social pressure.
Yes, that's why I kind of led into this topic of you are who you are around. You know, like that right there, I was somebody else when I was around other people, but when I'm around the right people, I decided, like, clearly this is not good for my life. It might be good. And I don't want to get a negative light around this, like, because some people need it, some people want it, that's some people's fun, and that's what they look forward to. I have no problem with that. And then I want to bring up the aspect of there is good situations, like go to a bar at 7 p.m., talk to some people. It's probably going to loosen you up, especially if you're scared of talking to people, and have conversations with people you don't know.
Yep.
But that's a much different scenario than blacking out 3 days a week until
Waking
3
up,
a.m.
feeling like shit.
So that's where I would I'm past that. Like I've done that. I'm past that. Like I'm not gonna do that again because there's just no positives for me.
Yeah.
So there's definitely good ways to use alcohol, and I have no problem, especially with people that, hey, that is your passion. Like we talked about ice fishing, find your passion. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. That's all you want to do. That's fine. Like there's no issue with that.
Yep.
But like from a back it up perspective, I saw the person I was when I did that, and I was going nowhere. So like I think a lot of people too think it's like it's such an issue or such a hard thing to do is give it up. Like I won't have any friends, I'm gonna be the outcast. Like people tell me all the time I hate fun or I hate, you know what I mean? It's like, no, I just find my fun in other places, like golfing, working out, and money. We talked about the trips and like the trade-off of, hey, go to the bar 1 time a month instead of 3 times a week. Yeah. The amount of money you'll save, you'll be able to go on that trip. And like alcohol is just, it's such a crazy topic for me because I think I'm so different, and that's why I like to see other people's perspectives of I look at it like it's a depressant. It doesn't make me feel good,
and especially with a majority of the population being depressed, I don't understand
it's interesting. It's interesting to me, like from a social perspective and a societal perspective. When did we make that a good crutch? You know what I mean? Like it's looked at as a positive thing in a lot of situations. And like there can be fun out of it. I'm not trying to kill your fun, but it's from a back it up perspective. And tell me if you can see this. It's crazy to me that like at one time our society, and it continues to be the same way, thinks that a depressant and relying on that and looking forward to that is helpful to move yourself and your happiness and everything forward.
Yeah.
Like if I back it up, it's just an interesting topic.
It is.
It's like,
It's a
where
tough one
do,
for me,
and,
for sure.
and you pay for it
Yeah.
too. So
Oh,
that's how I look at it. And that's definitely not the right way 100%. That's just, if you like to be like that, be like that. Like I'm just trying to tell the people that are like me, like it's okay. And you'll be okay.
Oh,
and you'll still have friends
that
drink.
Yeah.
It's okay.
100%. It's a tough one for me. Because
I want you to quit for a month. Will you do that?
For a month?
Will you do that?
Oh, I could easily quit for a month.
Will you do that?
Huh? I could quit. Yeah, I could quit for a
Test
month.
it out.
Not, you don't have to do it like right now, but at just some point, I want you to see the other side, like Joe Rogan does Sober October. I just want you to experience it, and hey, like him, he'll go back to drinking after it. But it's just cool that they like get both sides, because a lot of people start getting into it at like the end of high school or whenever you do, and then you just don't ever get out of it. You know what I mean? Like it's a continuous thing throughout your life,
and it's such a norm in our society.
Yeah,
that's where I struggle, and I want to talk to somebody like way above my pay grade that knows about that, you know? That like where did we flip that, like where was that used that it became a norm that everybody does it all the time? Because I do think
when it was invented.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, probably.
I do think it has a place in society and very positive in some situations, but there's probably 80% of people that use it very negatively. You know,
or think that they're using it positively, but really it's just hurting them.
So you brought up a lot of points. And this is the one thing that we might
differ on.
Well, not differ, but have different opinions like on the way that things are approached. Just because I do drink quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie. That is a big part of our social like culture, whatever. Especially living in Mankato.
Oh God,
feel like it's a drinking
it's a different
town.
breed down here.
I have never drank as much in my life. This is a lot of this stuff. Probably a lot of people know. A lot of people might not know. I can see the negatives of it 100% because I've seen a lot of people crumble and do ridiculous things on it on alcohol. I think I've also seen how it can be. I don't want to use this word because it's positive on something that can be horribly negative, but it's almost like a magical drug. Alcohol is, because I've seen people who are so tucked in their shell that are so just not
scared
out there. Scared of the world. And when you get them drinking a little bit, they
completely
open up
different.
and they're beautiful people and they'll talk to you and they'll tell you everything and they have so much more in their brain that they won't come out. And so I see the positives of it too. But 100%, I think overdoing it and abusing it and getting drunk all the time, which I've definitely found myself doing. It's not a good thing.
Too.
And I think finding the right limit, the cutoff point, is something that everybody should work on. And I'm definitely want to work on that better, just to find the fine line between having a casual beer and going too much. You know, I think that's 100% something I can look at.
I think I bring that all around to the perspective of too, like when people weren't taught how to talk growing up and stuff. Like I think 100% like that. Probably 3 in every 4 people that use it is the reason you said, and it can be good for that. I do agree, but it's crazy to me that in our society, that's how many people need to use it for that. I could go to a party, I could go to a bar, I could go to a place where I don't know anybody and just talk. And obviously it's easy for me to say because I don't know the anxiety that they're facing, but it's just like, you got to try to work on that at some point because that can't be your entire life.
Yeah.
Like,
oh no.
It won't.
No.
I don't know. It's a crazy topic to me though, because it's just like, it's weird that so many people rely on it so heavy. Like that's the way I look at it from an outside standpoint. It's like, I like not relying on anything. So I don't ever want to get to the point where I need to have one when I get home. I need to, like, I'm only looking forward to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hey, if there's a time where all my friends come to town, all her friends come to town, I'm on vacation with
We're still recording here. I don't remember if you were talking or if I was talking.
I don't remember.
We're talking about alcohol. We're talking about drinking.
Yeah.
I think you were talking about it.
I wish I knew what I was saying. But I mean, basically what I was just trying to bring it all back to is it's okay to be different, like in any situation, right? Like this is an extreme, and you don't have to be as extreme as me because I'm just ridiculously extreme. Wait, I know what we were talking about. There's a time and place that I drink even.
Oh, yeah.
Like on vacation or when all of your friends are in town, a couple times a year. And it doesn't have to be that little if you like it. Like, by all means, do it if you like it. But that's coming back to I always see positive and negative on all situations. And like I just found myself like, hey, it's not getting me anywhere on the normal weekends that I'm seeing the same people downtown. Like I spend my weekends, and this is definitely where I'm different too. I spend my weekends catching up, like doing the laundry, cleaning the house, learning new stuff. Like that's when I sit on YouTube, sit on LinkedIn learning.
Yep.
And I almost feel like the bar environment brings out like that type of energy that you're talking about. I don't think it's just solely alcohol. Like I think about what if there was a sober bar and you could like go out with all your friends but not drink. Like, would better decisions happen? Would it still be as fun? Would it not be as fun? Like, I think
it's an interesting
because I found myself like when I drank with a good group, I would have fun, but when I drank with a bad group, like it would just be the worst night ever.
Yeah.
And I think about what if everybody went out sober, did the same thing, like a social gathering, but you took away the alcohol. Would it still be fun? Like, is it just your environment that you're around bringing out that in you to like have fun?
Yeah. Well, and to be honest, I could go downtown, not have one drink, and I'd have the same amount of fun.
Oh,
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm a people person, but when I do have drinks in me, I will admit it is a lot easier to go up to somebody.
Talk to anybody.
Well, yeah. I mean, I could talk to anybody either way, but the fact is, when you have something in you, the liquid encouragement, 100% true. It definitely boosts your ego, like whatever that you have. Everybody, even. You know, us being people. Yeah, people. We all have those like inhibitions that tell us like, no, don't do it. Like, you don't need to go talk to that person or whatever.
Yeah.
Just don't. But when you're drinking, it's like
something.
Literally, and you know that those people are gonna be the same way. They're drinking, so they're gonna be happy to talk to you.
But if you thought about it, like, you could train your brain to think that sober too.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
yeah.
you
I
could
think
say,
that,
I'm gonna go say hi to them. Like,
I think honestly, like that's something for me. Like I feel like it's a trait. It's just so weird for me to talk about it because I know I'm so different. But like I feel much better when I am sober because I don't feel like a dumbass. Like
I have anxiety up the ass already, so when I'm drinking, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
So like I just think about it like I've trained myself that like I just don't do good on it. Like I'll say things that I don't want to say.
Yeah.
And so I just know that I'm a person that shouldn't have it. And I'm not trying to say anybody should or shouldn't have it by any means. I just think it's crazy that nobody talks about that how much of like a reliant it is for all of our society.
And I really do think people should try going sober.
Oh yeah.
Because I used to be one of the biggest partiers in my school. Then started dating Logan, and here we are.
And it's not like
sober.
like I don't care if she goes out and drinks. I really don't.
I don't. And it's not like that.
No. But like it's just like a product of your environment, who you're around.
Oh yeah.
And it's like when you see the other side and see, it's just a whole new
crazy
light that gets shed. And I really do. I don't know if a month would necessarily be enough, but if you could like get a group of your friends or whoever, not you personally, but if a person could do it with a group of their friends and still have that like social factor to being sober, I guarantee you that people would be a lot more motivated to do things.
I mean,
really do.
It is a good point, and I 100% see where you guys are coming.
I think you should try it. Like I don't think that it'll ever change you 100%, but it's just an interesting perspective, right?
Yeah.
And like I just find when like I wasn't having that to escape, right? Like I wasn't using that to escape when I was bored. Like let's say it's a Friday at 6 p.m. Like, hey, let's just start drinking. Instead of Friday at 6 p.m., I'm trying to do something positive. And like even I'm guilty of like now that I don't drink, like I still will find escapes like a show or you know like you know what I mean?
Currently
Like
The Office.
Yeah.
Oh,
dude,
there you go. Yeah.
But like and like I'm guilty of that too. Like nobody's perfect at it, but it's just very helpful in like limiting what I can escape from reality with, because I think that's what a lot of it is as well. Like it's using it as a crutch to get away from like what you're like. That's the same thing as movies and video games.
Yeah.
It's the same situation. It really is. And like it's the same situation as social media where we're telling you there's a positive to it and you can use it in a positive manner, and there's a very bad negative to all of those things.
Yep.
And like that's where like I need to find myself being better at like not sitting and watching a show or not doing something. We're pretty good at that. We don't have a TV in our room, and that's 100% because of her. She forced me to do that. So like that helps a ton.
Oh yeah.
But like that's just like what I can relate it to, of like it's not a crutch, so like I can't just fall back on that. Like if I don't know what I'm gonna do on a Thursday even, like, or even Wednesday for most people around here, I'm not just gonna go and drink all night and then be behind on everything I wanted to do the next day.
Yep.
And I think like if people stopped using it like that, it would be much more positive.
Yeah.
But that's like the big macro question that really, really perplexes me. Like, how did our society come to thinking that's the coolest thing to do?
Yeah. And the weird part for me is I was raised and like never drank in high school.
Really?
Never partied, nothing. Like straight as an arrow, clear, whatever, just like. But
mine's the opposite. I have the biggest drinking.
But that might be why
ever.
now you're somewhat switched. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be.
Like when you were young, you weren't raised in that, so it took you a lot longer to all of a sudden see that.
I was drinking at 14, blacking out every single weekend.
Really?
17 through 20. No, 17 through 20, blacking out every weekend. And it's like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
And I have definitely lived it, and I can say I got nowhere during those years.
Mm-hmm. And it can definitely kill people. And not kill, well, it can kill, but it definitely can like kill anybody's determination or desire to do stuff. The other part that I haven't like told you guys about is I'm like somebody that needs to be around people constantly.
Me too. Oh my God, that's the struggle I have with it.
And like
he can't even go to the grocery store by himself.
I gotta be around somebody all the time, man.
Yeah. And I'm an entertainer as well, so we always have people over. We always have people over. We always are doing stuff. We always are, trying to get as many people at our house as possible, and like that just brings like partying into it.
It brings it with it because everybody does it 100%. So that's just what you do.
Yep. And but we've also had some of like our most fun memories when everyone's been boozing a little bit. We've also like from the road trips, we're not drinking. We've had some crazy adventures there, and we're breaking the law there.
Do you drink on your road trips at all? Most of the time, no.
Not normally. We have before, but it's not like
definitely not like. Most of the time,
no
blacking out.
Normally, no. Normally, it's just like have a beer if we're going out to eat or whatever at a restaurant, or like we have gone on a couple road trips where we've gone to people's houses, like we met.
Oh, to like a party.
Yeah, to meet, and we've met a ton of great people all over the country,
no problem
in Ohio and all everywhere, Chicago, and just we've met a lot of cool people doing it, and that was another thing I was going to bring up. When we go to the bars, we've gone to bars all over in Sioux Falls and Brookings and La Crosse and the Dells and Iowa.
Yep.
I have met
some cool people,
hundreds of people, get them on Snapchat. And then I've made connections to do music videos, to film promo videos, just for meeting people at the bars.
Yeah, there's positive to it, 100%.
Yeah. And I love meeting people. And so I found the bars to be like an amazing place to meet really cool, creative people, especially rappers. I meet an unbelievable amount of rappers at the bars. In Cato, too, I met a lot of really cool guys and clothing designers and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I think what it all comes down to is moderation. If people... everything in moderation is good, but if it gets out of hand, it will kill you and it'll ruin you. And I 100% agree with you guys there. Yeah, I just see it in a little bit different mindset because it's done a lot of good.
It's good to have a different perspective, both sides.
Yeah.
And like it's cool because like you are opposite, like where you started young and now you're not really into it. You didn't at all, and now you're into it.
Yep.
And I'm not really into it at all. So we kind of have all three, honestly.
And what I do, I work at bars.
Oh, okay. That might change your mindset.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I still get to be a part of things and get to be in that scenery.
Yep.
But I'm on the other side. I'm making the money that you're giving me.
Yeah.
And I'm watching you make all the bad decisions, and I'm laughing.
Yep. And I'm not a big fan of I definitely used to do it. Go downtown every weekend, like Friday, Saturday. You know what I mean. It can drain your bank account and kill your whole weekend of you're drained after that. Obviously now with COVID, and I think it was like I said right when they shut it down way back in the beginning of summer or whatever. I'm like, thank God, because it literally stopped everybody from going.
Yeah.
We were going too much, and so I'm like, this is actually probably a godsend. Now we can focus more and like. We can have people at our house and like we can chill here and make videos and shot a lot of commercials, a lot of videos with friends. I don't know. I try to find the positive in it because so many people do it, and I think you can do it without negatively affecting your life.
Definitely.
Very true.
Definitely.
I just it's interesting to me though that you don't do it at all, or like you don't want to at all.
I could go without it.
Sober year.
Yeah, she says we're gonna be sober for a year. Well, I could do it 100%. We'll see if she can do it. She succumbs to peer pressure.
Even like a beer though, just having a beer at supper.
Well, that's the thing too with me. I fucking hate all alcohol.
Oh really?
No, don't like it.
I love beer, so
I used to until I stopped drinking it.
Really?
See, I think it's just like an accustomed thing. Too.
Oh yeah,
like,
for sure.
That's why like. we went to a brewery with her family. Dude, I'm gonna puke if I'm trying to.
Really?
Yeah.
He
like,
tried every single, like, we had a tray of beers.
I love breweries. I love beer.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
But that's the thing. Like, I'm never gonna pay. Like, this goes to anything. Like, I'm cheap as shit. Like, I'm a cheap bastard.
Oh, me too. Yeah. 100%.
I'm not buying. Like, I hardly buy clothes ever. I never buy clothes. Actually, I wear one pair of white Converse until they fall out on the bottom, and then I go to the same pair of white Converse.
Yep.
But like, that comes back to like just my human nature. Like, I'm not gonna pay for something I personally don't like. Like, everybody's always like, oh my God. And I'm like, I just don't like it. Like, just stay off me. I'm not on you for you drinking.
Yeah, 100%.
Why would I drink something that I'm going to puke when I drink it? Because I just don't like the taste. Like,
no hard liquor, nothing. You don't like any of it.
Captain Coke's the only thing I do.
Okay. I'm
It's
a
the
big,
only thing I'll do.
I'm a big beer guy. Like I think
I like the claws.
hard liquor can do a lot of damage if you're not careful with it. It can catch up to you. Where beer, you can have a bunch of them, and usually you have a safe night unless you're shotgunning them back to back or some crazy stuff.
Do not look at me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I have no problem with it if you're doing it in moderation, but it's just like the moment somebody touches it, they're a completely different person. Like, and that just, I don't know. I just don't like that because I just don't turn into a great person. So
yeah,
but it's a good topic.
Yeah.
It's an interesting topic because
it is.
I always find it so interesting because I don't know if I found anybody in my entire life that's like me. Like, I'm so, like, I promise you, I could probably go my entire life.
I have a guy for you.
Dude, I want to meet him.
My friend Kyle, he doesn't really drink either, but he's a very motivated individual. He's
I want to meet him.
Great guy. Oh, you'd love Kyle.
I want to meet him.
I'll introduce you to him when he comes down here. He doesn't come down here much because he doesn't like. I mean, he
Where's
works.
he from?
He's from Wyndham as well,
he
but
works.
now he works up for a car dealership in Minneapolis. So
Nice.
But yeah, no, it's just interesting because like I could honestly go probably my entire life without it and be perfectly fine. I would never. I could easily do it.
Me too. I'm not addicted to it at all.
Yeah.
It's not one of those things like I could easily go a long time without doing it. It's just when you're in Cato and everyone's doing it.
It's the social
and
pressure.
It's the social thing, yeah. And I could easily stand up, and not, but I can still get stuff done and drink. Like,
but that's the thing. Like, you can do it.
Yeah.
Some people can't.
Oh, 100%.
And that's why, like, if you can do it and you like doing it, go for it.
Yep.
I do. You got to try it one time. Like, just like a month or two, just to see it. It's so weird.
Well,
like,
it's sober for 20 years or whatever, I was
sober
for a long time.
But it is different, bro. Like, I was sober
yeah.
and then I started drinking and then like I changed and I was like, holy shit. And it definitely isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
It's so weird. But it's just good to talk about because like I want to talk about it because I'm so different. I have such a different perspective. Because there might be two people that watch this that have the same perspective of me.
Oh, yeah.
That absolutely hate that everybody screams at them and stuff. And all I'm trying to say is like you can still be fine without it and be perfectly fine. Like I still have plenty of friends. I know plenty of people.
Yep.
Too many.
And I never touch it. Like,
well, no one should be telling you that if you don't drink, you're an idiot or a loser or whatever.
But that's what everybody does.
That's
all I heard
and
my
people
entire
don't
life.
necessarily have to say it. You can just tell.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
like
they
even
get so
when
mad.
I stopped drinking, I lost so many friends.
Really?
And I was like, really? That's what you really start to realize is how many fake friends you build just off of alcohol. It's insane.
Yeah, true. Well, I will definitely do it. We should do a sober month. Not Rogan, not October. We pick a different month.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I'm already doing it, but
can't be a month with any holidays because that's the tough.
Okay.
That's a tough.
So well, then that's tough. That's like every. What month do you want to do?
I don't know. I have to look at the
We'll have to talk
calendar.
About it. I'll do it, and you come hang out.
It can be like a combination podcast thing. Like we're both gonna do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay.
I'm all in for that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And then on the weekends we just
crack out some stuff.
And we work on shit. We just get some shit done.
Yep. Boom.
We got to get people to do it with us. That'd be so cool.
That's what we got to plan it. We got to plan it out a while.
That's fine.
Next year sometime.
Everybody that you have on the podcast.
Yeah.
Has to do
yeah. There we go.
month.
Boom. I love that. That's a good way to end it right there.
Yeah,
we got a
wrap it up?
positive. Yeah, that's a good positive thing. We'll announce that when we know what month
we'll
it is.
figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to come up with a new name. It has to rhyme.
Yeah.
Can't be sober.
Something,
we'll have to
something cool.
Yeah, we'll come up with it.
Alrighty.
Boom.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks for getting this started.
Oh yeah.
Episode 1
I'm
done.
excited to see you guys got on, all these big investors and
Hopefully.
everything. I'm gonna
That'd be
definitely
cool.
listen to those because I need to crack out some money and get invested. I did just do a Roth IRA. I'm
That's good. That's a
Yeah.
good start.
Yeah.
Yep, invested money in there. So I took it out of the stock market, sold it, and then invested into a Roth because I needed a retirement fund.
This is a whole nother topic.
I know. Yeah, we can't get into that. We'll cover that next time.
Alrighty. Well,
Give
Thank
them
you so
your
much.
outro. Give them your outro.
I don't have an outro yet.
Well, you gotta tell them go on Instagram. Whatever,
I mean, we
Facebook.
do have an Instagram. Next Step
followers.
University. Eight followers.
Gotta
We'll
start
get
somewhere,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have a YouTube yet. We're gonna have to make that after this, so
Hell
you'll
yeah.
get that when this drops. But we don't have an outro or an intro yet. We'll get there. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Boom.
Good shit.
Oh yeah.